Hello, everyone, and welcome
Hello.
to another episode of Post Credits Podcast, a show where we are lucky enough to get to talk about movies with you. This is episode 28.
Stop doing that.
What are you crazies over there? Recorded on May the 4th.
Oh, gross.
I know. That was lightsabers kicking on.
God.
It's gonna get posted on podcast services on Tuesday, May 6th. So the usual spots: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, and YouTube. If you are listening to us on audio-only version, feel free to check us out on YouTube as well. You can watch the full episode or just segments as they come with time codes already in there. We tried to snip out some interesting segments for you guys. We do it for you.
We do the cut it out thing.
Stop.
Oh, Joey,
Yeah,
cut
Joey.
it out. Yeah.
That's right. That's
However, if
my
you
first Full House reference.
however you
of the
choose
year.
however you choose to enjoy our content, thank you very much for listening.
Smash that like button.
Smash it and subscribe.
Don't do that.
Do all that, all the fun
They
stuff.
don't hit the table.
Yeah, come on.
We're
Man.
on the
Alright,
same
alright.
room again, and it's
It's fun. I think it's fun.
Oh, it's fun.
They're not having fun. I
It's
know.
fun.
It's fun.
I love
All right.
sitting. I love sitting all the way back here.
Well, stay
Dude,
back
I don't
there.
like it. I don't like that you keep leaning further back either. Like I don't
Look,
no.
it is what it is. We have microphone, but this is how we solved it.
It's
so
fine. We're
this
fine.
week we're going to yammer on for a minute. Then we're going to talk about box office. Chris has a movie recommendation. Then we're going to talk about our favorite Star Wars movie because it's May the 4th, and I think we're kind of
Say it.
obligated to do it.
Say it.
May the 4th be with you.
Boo!
I had to. And then we're going to talk about the state of Marvel, which I'm really excited about. And then Thunderbolts, which, spoiler, doesn't suck.
It's fair.
Did
So-
you think it was? Never mind. We'll talk about that later, I guess.
I am one of your hosts, Grayson Maxwell, and joining me as I do every week are my co-hosts, Roger Stillian and the lovely Chris Ball.
That's right.
Hello.
That's right.
Hello.
What was that long like? Hello.
I realized like I reached way up to wave and I went right out of the camera frame, so I brought it back down even more awkwardly.
I don't know. I don't know. What to do with
Yeah,
my
I don't know what
hands.
else to do with my hands right now. I've only done this in some capacity for like 7 years.
My daughters discovered the whole Spock, like
Oh, live long and prosper.
yeah, Blue and Prosper thing, and they were just sitting in the living room like a bunch of idiots, like looking at their hands, trying to get to do the
Well,
things that
I
it's not
mean,
doing.
You ever hit them with the old?
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
hey, they're not ready for that
Yeah,
yet.
it's like, look, no, you got to do it like super awesome.
The
Like
church
put
is
your
a
hands
steeple or
together.
something. Yeah.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, no,
watch it up.
my 7-year-old's head will
Listen,
explode.
listen.
All right, guys, Jesus.
For some reason, kids think that's incredible.
I mean, hey, they're right, but
Yes,
you know,
it's true.
it's
The
it's
human
the
body-
first time, or the first time you do that, I got your nose thing, and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
The human body is
I still fall
incredible.
for that. I still fall for it.
I know.
Thanks. I know.
Makes a lot of sense.
How many body parts have you lost in your life?
A lot. All right.
Uncommon.
I'm very gullible. I'm very gullible. I just, I like to believe what I hear. Everything on the internet is true, by the way.
It is. Did you guys watch anything cool this week?
What?
Did you guys watch anything cool?
I
this
watched the
week?
Kentucky Derby.
My mother, my mother,
My mother.
bless her soul,
Okay.
for some reason watches the Kentucky Derby every single year, and she can't.
You
tell
know
me
what
why.
though? It's like here's the thing. So like I've been to Churchill Downs,
Okay, yeah.
which is
Yeah.
like that's one of the places where you walk into it and it feels different. Like it's like legit like holy ground for
Yeah.
like sport. So that's pretty cool. But like I don't know why. Like I don't even gamble on it. or
Yeah.
anything. I barely gamble at all.
Neither does my
life.
mother.
Wait, here's the thing. It's better that I don't. So my therapist says, or whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But like I don't know, I fucking love that shit, dude. Like it's so exciting.
I
I
get it.
couldn't tell you jack shit about anybody that raced,
Yeah.
and I fucking love it. I love it.
Well, so
Also, it's better than
isn't-
gamble.
it's in the news because all the horses now in the Derby are
Well,
descendants of
this,
Secretariat.
in this race, for
In
the
this
first
particular race,
time, the
okay.
entire field were related to each other.
All right.
They are
Good.
all cousins because they're all
From
ultimately
Secretariat, yeah.
sired by Secretariat,
Hmm.
which the greatest racehorse of all time.
Interesting.
Not Seabiscuit, that poser.
Tobey Maguire, who was in the Secretariat? That was Diane Lane, wasn't it?
Yep.
Something like- yeah.
Tobey Maguire, coming at you personally.
Yeah, I mean, it turned.
All
All
right,
right, cool. So
Is it
Kentucky
turned?
Derby.
Yeah, love
Nice,
that.
nice, very
Love
cool.
that.
That's like a real fact I never would have known about you, Roger. It's one of those things. Like unless you told me, I never know about.
Well, it's
you.
like I like pageantry things when it comes, especially like with sport. Like that's one of the things where, it's not like the Kentucky Derby's new. Like this race that was run yesterday was the 151st.
Holy cow!
I mean, 151 years they've been running this shit.
Sold in
You're
some
like,
countries.
well, yeah. But the other thing is too is like there are people that served in the Civil War that were there watching the first Kentucky Derby. Like that's a real fact,
Yep.
by the way.
Hmm.
So
I love those like you are closer to like the pyramids being built than like this. You have see those like
Yeah,
stories
yeah.
on-
exactly.
nuts, man.
But
Mhm.
it's just cool. Like I like to do it, and like today, like this. Like it was just me sitting there by myself watching the race. Like other people in my house doing other things, and I'm just sitting there like for 2 minutes just staring at the television.
Did you win? Was your bet the good bet?
I don't bet. Like I don't even.
Oh, they said you bet, sorry.
No, I didn't even pick anybody to do it. It's just exciting. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's cool, and like horse racing is one of the things where, and like I'm no gambling expert or anything like that, but it's wildly unpredictable,
Mhm.
especially yesterday because like we've had a lot of severe weather. Like in the area that we live in
Yeah.
is in direct path a lot of times the same weather that hits the Lexington and Louisville, Kentucky area, and like it was raining. It was like dog shit track, which I guess is good for them. Even like it's even faster for them to run on.
Jeez.
So it's all muddy and crazy and awesome.
Nice.
So yeah,
Very cool.
it's cool. Also, go to Churchill Downs because you can still smoke there. And we've all
Jesus
discussed how awesome smoking is.
Always comes back
The
to
stance that
smoking.
this show seems to have on smoking.
It's
For
weird.
the record.
It's weird. Well, Roger's next smoker, so
Sponsorship.
Camels.
Winston.
Gonna be fucking Marlboro. You know what I mean? What the fuck?
Hey,
Yeah.
there's real money there.
You know what?
I mean, there are people alive that were delivered by a doctor that was
Smoking in the
smoking
delivery
as
room.
he
Yeah.
was delivering
Buddy,
the baby.
you could smoke in a French hospital until like 3 years ago. In the hospital.
Well, they had those long, like those super, like I'm gonna stop because I see Chris's. Well, they had those long, like what are
It's
the
live on
slim
camera.
Those are
Should
called
you say that?
Tipperillos.
Tipperillos?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they were. That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Myself, for the sixth time in 4 years, I watched Chernobyl, the miniseries.
You
on-
did tell
on
me.
HBO, and
I believe Grayson lauded you for your commitment
He
to
did,
that
he really
single
did.
I do
series.
because every few months Chris will be like, you know what, I just watched it, best miniseries ever, and then like 4 months will go by, he'll say the same thing again. I'm like, look,
It's-
I appreciate the commitment. I
Hasn't,
do.
hasn't watched a movie independent of the movie podcast one we talk about for
It's
a
true.
year.
It's true.
And I've watched Chernobyl for the 6th time.
listen, just something about it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It is the best piece of serialized media
Now,
I've ever seen.
I haven't watched it 6 times. I have seen Chernobyl. It is very, very good. He is mostly
you.
correct. It is not.
Mostly.
It's not the greatest thing ever, but
Mostly.
like, look, it's pretty fucking good. You
It's
guys
pretty fucking good.
Guys should go watch it.
I would challenge anyone to tell me a mini series that is better than Chernobyl.
X-Men '97.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
And I'm a huge fan of X-Men.
I'm sure they're out there. I can't think of any, but I mean,
I know.
I
I'll
already
wait.
did X-Men '97.
no, don't do that thing.
See you next week. Challenge you.
I mean, what? So
See you
miniseries.
next
So are we
week.
talking about like, are we extending this to series? 9. You're talking like a 6-episode, like a 6 to 10, like something that's designed to be a miniseries.
Sure.
I think Queen's Gambit is excellent, and I think
That is
I
that's
think
great.
Queen's Game is excellent as well. It's not better than Chernobyl.
I disagree, but
It falls
I've-
apart.
I don't know if I
I've
disagree.
seen Chernobyl.
Queen's Gambit is pretty good though.
It is pretty good.
It's
I
pretty
agree 100%.
I also haven't seen.
When's the last time you seen Chernobyl?
100 years ago. I've never seen Chernobyl. So.
You've never seen it?
Wait.
Oh, you should see it.
Oh,
I
brother.
get that 100%, of course.
Brother.
That's good.
I know.
Brother.
on my
Have you
list.
watched X-Men '97?
I watched some episodes. My brother loves it. So
fucking good.
It's good. Listen.
speaking of watching X-Men 97, I am watching. I don't know if you guys probably are not. We have not talked about it, but Last of Us.
I have not watched anything yet.
Episode 2 is the episode. If
You've
you know what I'm
played the
talking about.
games, right?
Yeah, I know what happens. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but someone listening might not. So let's.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's fine. So
yeah.
you want me to spoil it for
No,
everybody?
no,
okay.
No.
Hold on. But episode 2 is the episode.
I mean, I'll say this: they done did it. Like, I'll just say
I-
That was
here's the
last
thing.
week, right? That
I
But
can't
happened?
here's
believe
the thing: is like I said it since episode 1 of in 2023 is Pedro Pascal. He fine. I'll accept him as Joel, but I will not accept she is not. And like that was my great fear ending season 1. I remember we've discussed it. Is she cannot be that character that they need her to be in season 2. And then we went off on this diatribe of, well, maybe they'll take some time and they'll let her go. But like they don't. They're right in season 2, right with the pace of the game. And it just angers me because I can't think in recent memory of a greater miscast.
Well,
than
I
Ellie.
mean, this is what'll happen, in my opinion, is that season 1 of The Last of Us will go down as one of the best seasons of a show made of all time.
Yeah.
And everyone will hate the second season. And
Well,
it'll be
we
shit.
just won't talk about season
So
2.
far, the ratings are drastically different.
Yes. They're much
The
lower.
viewership drastically different.
Yes. Along the same lines as Rings of Power.
They can't say that they didn't see
No,
this
yeah,
coming.
it's true.
Because they have a second game.
Yeah, and they're following it to a T. Caitlin
mean,
Deaver is excellent, by the way.
The other thing is like we knew that the story is incredible. Like it is. Like there's no
award-winning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason why it got. The only thing that I will say is like they didn't have to follow.
They didn't have to.
storyline. They don't have to do because like look, HBO for one knows like you can take well written stuff in like Game of Thrones and make your own changes to it and take it whatever. They're like, look, albeit it didn't always work in Game of Thrones either, but like they're not afraid to do that.
I commend them for sticking to the literal script they had going into this. Other than that, they
weren't not going to. If season 1 was followed so closely, they weren't not going to do that.
I mean, here's the thing though.
They could have.
They could have done whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have done season 1 so close and then strayed in season 2. It just
In season 2, something really big happens.
Hey, do they have evidence that in season 2, if they follow the script, that things might go terribly for them and that they might get huge pushback?
Yeah, but they did it anyway.
Then, well, but what I'm saying is like it's like they could have followed season 1 just fine and then said, hey, we're going to take this on a different road than season 2. In season
Slight
2,
diversion.
than what the games do.
Maybe the big thing doesn't happen until like the end of that season.
I don't. I think they. I mean, everyone watching it knows what's coming anyway. So I just think they went.
Maybe. Well, no. There's tons of people that have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah,
my wife's one of them.
Sure, but like now she's seen it.
Sorry.
So it's like
it's not nearly as brutal as is in the game, which kind of pissed me off because like if you're gonna do it, you got to do it. Like you really have to go all.
So
in.
I haven't watched this season yet, but like, why would they ever tone down the brutality in this?
I can tell you exactly why.
They did.
I can tell you why they tone it down. Walking Dead, when Negan offs.
Oh wait, caves in Glenn's head.
And the other guys or whatever. They were so brutal with that, and there are many people that said they would not watch the show after that scene specifically.
Interesting.
Walking Dead is still going.
It is.
Like there's another spinoff coming too.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Good for them.
So anyway, I say all that to say this: please watch Chernobyl, so I can talk about it with you. I mean it, man.
I look. If it's a minute, how many episodes?
It's 5 episodes.
How long are they?
It's 5 hours of your time.
5 hours a piece?
No,
yes,
total.
Yes, it is 31 consecutive hours.
No, yes. By next week, Chris, you have my solemn word. I will have Chernobyl watched.
I bet you turn it on at.
Wait, what are we talking about next week?
I don't know. You turn it on. You'll turn it on at 11 p.m. because I watched this first episode, whatever. And at 4 a.m. you're like, God damn, there's one left.
6 monsters on the floor next to me.
It's that good, buddy. It's that good.
All right, guys, let's do box office, shall we?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We have been talking for a while, but let's do a show.
Right on.
But first, once again, folks, this is episode 28.
2-8.
Thank you. A post-credits podcast where we are lucky enough to talk about movies with you.
So you gotta do that. 2 and then 8.
Every week it's new. I don't even know what to expect. I don't know. I try to anticipate, and I get this weird butterfly thing, and I don't know.
That's the Birdman, and he can fly in any weather.
Please,
that's an
please,
early
next segment.
Yeah,
Get me out of this hell.
All right, let's talk about some box office.
I thought we
gentlemen.
started to do that already.
Let's do that.
Some
Number 1, Thunderbolts, 76 million domestic for a worldwide of 162. Kind of low.
Here's the thing. That's exactly where everybody thought it was going to be.
76 is pretty good.
Well, here
It's already past Snow White.
I want you to understand is 75 to 80 was like where it had been tracking.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I am fairly versed in this at this point. And the reason the numbers come in a little bit lower than what people would consider super successful, it's Captain America's fault.
Oh, agreed, 100%. Oh yeah.
No, it's like
Yep.
it is 100% Captain America's
They
fault.
did a little course correcting, but we'll get into that. Number 2, Sinners, 33 million
Like,
for.
Sorry, go ahead.
To 236 million.
What incredible staying power Sinners has had.
Yeah,
I mean, for real. This is good movie, great premise. Congrats.
Talking about a staying power, number 3, Minecraft.
Oh, sorry.
Minecraft 13.7. It is 873. Not quite over the billion mark, but look, that far exceeded my expectations to begin with. So I'm happy for them.
It's good. It's good for them.
I don't know if you guys saw that Jack Black and this was like 2 weeks ago, but Jack Black and Jason Momoa did a really good thing for a fan, really heartwarming thing for a fan that sadly did not make it after the first couple weeks of the film. But It was nice to know that. And Jack Black is doing a lot of things for kids' hospitals now, which makes me happy.
Like,
it just does.
Jack Black is a beloved man.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And he's earned that too, so that's always a good thing. Number 4, The Accountant 2, which The Accountant Squared, which because we never talk about that.
Anyway,
no, keep going with math-related humor. Let's go.
9.5 million, not super strong, but it's sitting at a 54 million worldwide, which it probably deserves more.
Here's the thing: we liked that movie. It was fine.
Oh yeah,
we did indeed. Number 5, Until Dawn, 3.8 million with a worldwide of 34. Yeah. That's doing about what I thought it was going to do. Probably a little more. And 6 through 10, The Amateur, King of Kings, Warfare, hit The Third Case. Number 9. Number 10, Unknown Title.
Wait,
what? It's not even on there.
Wait, no, it hasn't been up here for a while. Nice. What's the third case? What?
Hit, The Third Case.
What the fuck is
I don't even know. There's so many different movies. It's an Indian movie.
Oh, you mean colon
dot. Yeah,
oh, I thought it was the word colon in the middle of that title.
No, I said Jesus. It just looked weird, but I think it's a Bollywood film.
Okay, that makes sense.
Without doing any, but then number 10 is called Unknown Title, and when I click it, nothing comes up.
Oh,
so
it's very ominous.
So it just didn't load anyway. No, Snow White is number 13.
So
it was 14 the week before, or something like that.
It's gone in most theaters, so
as it should be.
You guys want to know what the worldwide is?
250.
200. That's it.
That's great.
For the OG remake live action of the OG Disney movie.
I feel icky that it makes me happy that it's failed so hard.
No, it deserves it.
I'm happy it's failed so hard.
Dance on the grave. Do it.
After you pee on it.
Do it.
Do it.
You dance on it and then pee on it, fool. You
just
won't
hoping
pee on your
that
shoes.
This just leads to better decisions.
This is what you guys come here for.
What about proper grave piss etiquette? I
don't. Why does that even need to be a thing? No one should be desecrating any graves except for Snow White. Just desecrating.
What's the grave I was desecrating? Continue.
Continue indeed. Let's talk about Chris, my friend. It is your week. Talk about a movie recommendation.
My chair is super squeaky.
It is squeaky.
I can make mine squeak. Do you want me to?
No, I'm good.
Okay, please. On audio podcast. Thank you.
Oh.
So the movie that I chose this week is Kick-Ass, which is actually a wild ass ride and a different kind of superhero ensemble film. So this movie came out of what felt like nowhere. I remember seeing this movie. This is one of the first movies I think I saw with my wife, who was my then girlfriend. And
I bet she was confused.
No,
I bet she had some questions for you.
I don't think she went into this thing knowing. We didn't know what kind of ride we were going on when we went to see this movie, right? But this movie is. It's fun, it's funny, it's vulgar, and it was just
extremely violent.
It was a different take on superheroes that we weren't used to getting. And this is a time where superhero movies didn't make any money too. So there's just a weird lightning in a bottle moment for
What did you say? This time when what?
When superhero movies didn't really make much money.
They weren't like what they are now.
They weren't popular like they are now.
Well, no, but Iron Man was 2008. That was.
Yeah, that was one. That was the first one.
Sure. I know. Okay. Go on.
It's they weren't like a thing yet. That was still kind of Marvel's like, hey, we might have something here kind of deal. Not what we see now. But
number 36.
I mean, this is one of my favorite castings for Nicolas Cage. I love him in this.
Big Daddy.
Hitman? No, Big Daddy.
Big Daddy. Yeah, he's got a scene in this that is just badassery that had no business being in this movie.
Is it when he's on fire?
It's just when he goes to the factory and just fucks everything up, right?
When you see it through the surveillance camera, and then he's just using a shotgun and just
he's just wasting people, and it was like, god damn.
So what was this? 2009?
To 10.
10.
It was 10.
Jeez.
Matthew Vaughn.
A few years later, but Matthew Vaughn was
the director.
But the thing
is really like the launching pad for Aaron Taylor Johnson as well.
Yeah, true, very true.
And he's worked with Matthew Vaughn's worked with Taylor Johnson in like 3 or 4 things now, which is great. So I'm happy for that. But
Matthew Vaughn's got his own little he's got that Marv Productions and does his own little thing. He's got his own little clique.
Yep,
which is fair. I mean, that's
good for him.
Hitman. Oh no, what's the one with Hey, bruv, what's
bruv?
The series that I like the third one of the World War I.
Oh, Kingsman.
Yeah.
I love you use "Hey, bruv" as a segue to Kingsman.
You guys can identify the movie based on that.
Hey, single English slang term.
So I'm glad you chose that, Chris, because it's got two of my favorite sequences in superhero films. The first one is when he's I mean, I love when he gets his ass kicked the first time trying to kick ass. Like it's kind of a tongue in cheek. But I like the idea of this movie where someone tries to become a superhero by no greater to just merit of just like working out and like eating the right thing and like doing good in the neighborhood and in a place that needs good.
He just gets fucking clubbed.
Well, one of my favorite sequences in this film is when people are in like the huddle house or the wall, whatever they are, and like someone's done something to someone and ran away, and he's chased them down, and he's like squaring off against like 3 dudes in a parking lot. And then like it's good. It's that superhero moment where people are watching him. They got their phones out, and they're like, and he's like, the guy with the knife's like, just give me the money and walk away. Like I'm gonna kill you if you don't. And he's like, 3 dudes laying into one, and I'm the asshole. And like the music cues up, and then like the superhero, dun, 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 like it's just wonderful moment. It is, and
then he gets stabbed.
He does.
What are you gonna do? Stab me?
Dead man who was stabbed.
Moments before he stabbed.
That's one of my favorite
Sorry to like
memes
take
of all
over,
time.
Chris, but then
No, you're good.
you have when Big Daddy is captured and like in Hit Girls and just wrecking havoc.
Yep.
While
Well,
he's on fire and he's telling her what to do.
It's playing that one song from Sunshine, the it's like the Adagio D or something, and he's like screaming in pain, telling her what to do to like, and she's using like it's a wonderful sequence.
I can't believe you didn't choose a sequence where they put that guy in the lumber microwave.
Yeah.
I like when
Spoiler.
the one of the henchmen picks up a bazooka and Mark Strong's like, a bazooka? He's like, yeah. Mark Strong's like, all right.
Yeah.
And then is that the one where he flies out the window and then explodes?
Yeah.
I really like Kick-Ass. I was very disappointed that the second one was just not well received.
Second one's a whole different beast.
It's a lot going on in the second one. I mean, here's the thing: there's a lot going on in both the movies.
Yeah.
Kick-Ass is fun. Like,
it should have been one.
Funny story about that though is, I worked at a movie theater at that time, and Grayson, were you at Marquee then? I think you were, right? So when Kick-Ass came out, a lot of people don't read ratings for movies. And so like there was a bunch of dads taking their young children to see Kick-Ass, and there were a lot of people leaving Kick-Ass pretty quickly.
Like the name didn't tip you off that
Hey,
might not be for
look,
kids?
they can't read.
It's fair.
But they can talk and they know what ass is. Like, I mean, what's the...
No, I meant the parents.
Sure, but yeah,
I mean, they can't read the fucking R in the corner of the thing. So
that was an interesting concept of like making your own superhero. It's always been, but that's a graphic novel, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
Very well received. Like there's 3 or 4 of them. There's at least 3.
Yeah, and they're long.
Yeah,
it's the music too that also makes that film wonderful and what it is. And Mintz Platz is in it too, which was kind of new for him.
Red Mist, baby.
Yeah, the Red Mist. And
Mr. McLovin himself.
Really wonderful sequences in that film. The second one had almost none of them. It blows my mind how just you get Kick-Ass and Kick-Ass 2. It blows my mind how different those 2 movies are.
I have to watch Kick-Ass again. It's been a minute.
Kick-Ass is good.
Call out.
Kick-Ass watch party. No, all right, fair enough.
Good.
You have to watch Chernobyl. You don't have time.
It's true.
That is true, and I made a promise. I will stick to it. All right, gentlemen, it is May the 4th this week.
What does that mean?
May the 4th be with you, my friend. This week on episode 20 of the Post Credits Podcast, we are going to pay homage to Star Wars by talking about our favorite movie in the or our favorite thing in the franchise, be it a Disney Plus show, which it won't be. I won't let it. Both of you. And your favorite movie and why. And why, just kind of a little bit about why we like Star Wars. It's become a different beast, if you ask me, but you can still go back to, why you did once.
What kind of beast?
A not good beast. Anyway,
like not good as in like taste or mindset.
Quality, my friend, quality. But let's talk about Star Wars for 2 seconds, because it is literally, we're recording on the 4th of May. May the 4th be with both of you guys.
May you stop saying that.
Who wants to start, guys? Favorite movie and why?
Good. No, you go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I think
you guys make us go first.
The movie I enjoy watching the most is Episode 3. Believe it or not, I like that movie.
You are my brother.
Well, it's the one that like everyone knew was coming, and that fight is great. But like, I still think 4, 5, and 6 are far superior, and 4 being, in my mind, is the superior Star Wars movie ever. But
you took it from me.
Yeah, well, I mean.
You will
not take it from me. Like the very stiff line delivery of Hayden Christensen.
What's he doing now?
I don't.
Just
I
being
don't know.
rich?
I mean, he's
Sounds
got
awesome.
royalties. Yeah, he's an awful life he must have. He must be scraping the bottom.
Remember that
of the
movie Jumper he was in? I always liked that movie.
Oh, with Rachel Bilson,
Yeah, and Jamie, your boy Jamie Bell.
Yeah, and Sam Jackson, and that didn't do well though. Jumper, but
Yeah, I like that movie though. It was good.
I don't know. But what about you guys? Talk to me about Star Wars.
Best Star Wars movie ever is Rogue One and always will be.
I disagree, but
That's fine. You're wrong.
Chris.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of people think Empire Strikes Back is the quintessential American-made movie, but I just don't see it. But again, without like Han Solo, without Harrison Ford, and without like the improvised lines, "I love you, I know," it's a whole different beast. But that's a damn good movie with wonderful visuals.
I like it for different reasons though, so I don't know why everybody else likes Empire Strikes Back, but I do know it's the most popular.
It's because the bad guys win.
Yeah,
it's chapter 2 of 3.
I kind of dig that. You know what I mean? Like I like it when things aren't don't look good.
The good guys
for the
don't
good
always
guys.
win.
Well,
And
it's just
I've always been
part
drawn
2
to
of
that.
3. Like that's formula.
Hey, they didn't know at the time.
Hey, and
So imagine that in like, what was that, 77?
80,
Yeah.
80, 77, 80, and
Okay,
83.
so imagine 1980, like walking out of that, and like the bad guys had just fucking whipped everybody's
Mhm.
ass, and then like it's not like now where like what's in production and what's coming. Like, what if there was no other Star Wars?
Well,
Like,
and the line
they
Luke,
have
I am your father.
Yeah.
Like
they
huge.
they have this like incredible thing burst on the scene in episode 4, right?
Mhm.
And then like they build up this little rebellion they got going on, and then the whole 5th movie or 2nd movie at the time is just the rebellion just getting dick slapped, right? Just,
The
just
whole
getting
time,
the
too.
shit knocked out of them,
Yeah.
and then it just ends.
Yeah, there's not a thing that goes right for them in Empire Strikes Back, and it's like
Yeah, and just ends on this cliffhanger that Vader's Luke's father. Spoiler. And
And
then
1980.
no, and then here's
yeah.
the thing, and then there's no other movies. Star Wars just ends.
yeah, that'd be wild, right?
Oh my god.
but yeah, I like the bad guys win. You know, is I guess the simplest way to put it. But again, it's watching the heroes try to climb up and then it just not work out for them. And there's a dose of reality to that you don't get very commonly out of film.
Well, yeah, in
and
movies,
especially
you
back
don't.
then. And it's something like that is appealing to me because that feels like how some stories can go. And it's just not usually the case. It's not usually the formula. And there's just something about having actually lost and then coming back from a loss is way different than almost losing or things being hard for a minute and then rallying. Like it's just a different feel. And
You
it's
didn't
just
pull
I've always
yourself
liked
up
it.
by your bootstraps and persevere. No, you lost. Like,
Yeah.
the shit was over.
Yeah, like
for years.
exactly. Yep. So it's like that's why I really enjoy that. That when movies do that.
Well,
It's
Empire's
a
a good. Empire's a very good choice. I mean, it is again like a lot of people consider that the quintessential American-made movie.
Like,
but
imagine Infinity War with no endgame. Like, Infinity War just ends.
perfect ending.
but you could.
just-
What do you mean perfect ending?
No, but like that just ends the Marvel bloodline. Like, there's just
The
No,
bloodline.
the MCU is just done.
They let on WebMD
No,
and
and
went
then-
too deep.
But I mean, okay, but
That's
it
a
wouldn't
deep
have been. It wouldn't have been engineered to that point if that was the plan. Like that
Sure,
would.
well, that's
We're
what I-
talking about like a what if that never.
No,
never
that's
could
what I
happen.
mean with Star Wars, right? Like, there was no precedence to just have things bleed over and over and over again. Like, trilogies weren't a common thing. Like, it's not something that happened. We're talking about
Star Wars started that.
like we see. It's just
I
the
think
80s,
anyway.
like the early 80s. Like this, there is no like, hey man, we have to let these things go. And but the thing is like films were totally different then too, because like now you can have a critically successful movie and have it like end on a cliffhanger, and then they never make the second one. Like
Yeah.
that shit happens all the time. Like imagine if that happened to Star Wars. Like that changes science fiction. That changes
everything, yeah, of course.
changes the Earth. Legitimately
Yeah.
changes the Earth.
Like those dams in China.
Like
I'm gonna challenge that statement a little bit.
are you?
Yes. I
What's the
don't know
most
what you-
successful film franchise of all time?
Is it Star Wars?
Yes,
Okay,
and it's
well,
not even close.
But how does that change the Earth?
Buddy, they
Earth.
name things Star Wars. They name government programs Star Wars because of that shit.
Yeah.
Changed the Earth.
Okay, fair. I didn't know that. I
Changed
didn't know that.
human history.
Yeah.
Like that little bit. And here's the thing: I don't really care for Star Wars personally. I just don't. It's never really appealed to me on the global on
The
the
whole
scale
good
that it
versus
does.
evil thing is. I mean, how can that not appeal to you as a movie guy? But it's good. I mean, that's what it started as, good versus evil, and it's like but it was stolen from the Lord of the Rings. There's so many similarities in Fellowship and in New Hope. The ring the ring like carried by this little creature and kind of a a Tatooine, which is the same kind of the Hobbit thing. The doors look similar. I mean, there's so many similarities. And like, what is a Jedi?
I don't know.
It's a wizard and a ranger.
I don't know.
Aragorn and
I
Gandalf.
don't know if you can say that it's stolen from because one of the most common things in storytelling across civilizations, time, and everything else you can think of, there is an ethos of the way stories are told, and there's always the story of good versus evil, dating far back to the Bible. You know what I mean? It's like you can't say that Star Wars took it from Lord of the Rings. I don't think that's the case. I think that there are stories to be told, and there's only so many ways to tell those stories that you're going to have similarities, things that are aligned well, especially at certain times in times in history where media comes into play there. Because there is inspiration, but I don't know if you can like Pinocchio, for example. The story of Pinocchio is repeated in so many other things, but we don't say that they take it from Pinocchio, right? Because that's not what happens. But that story, that journey that Pinocchio goes on, is a common story for a reason, because it's just a coming of age story in a certain way for a certain kind of person.
Sure, but there's a lot of similarities that I personally think it's nothing wrong if Lucas liked Lord of the Rings as a kid and read it and it's like I want to do something like that, and just inspiration being what it is, but it is. It's too similar to not to just say, you know what? No, it's not. And it's just too similar. But that's only.
I get you. But to go to your example that that Jedi are just space wizards, but there's no version of that's like the opposite of, right? So if a Jedi is a space wizard, then why is it what is a Sith and why is it there? You know what I mean? Taking directly the inspiration comes from Lord of the Rings, because because there's a very specific push and pull of Jedi and Sith, the good and the dark side of the Force. So I don't know if that's a direct pull, or if that's just something that can be seen as adjacent.
Right, sure. No, and I understand. It's just one of those things.
All right,
we're celebrating.
Let's have a good Star Wars discussion.
Well, I think
what color would your lightsaber be?
Mine?
Yeah.
So am I going with
you get one choice?
Am I going?
One choice.
Am I going with lore, lore wise, or what do I think would be a cool lightsaber color?
What would Chris's lightsaber color be?
Oh, it would be ice blue, not the same as that one you see like Luke have episode 1.
A lot.
That's fine.
Yeah,
good.
It would. Yeah.
All right, you
blue, definitely blue.
Just what the fuck do you mean just blue?
Just blue.
Buddy, there are so many versions
navy
of blue.
No, I like deep blue, ocean blue.
Well, okay, so
blue.
Luke Skywalker.
Yeah,
blue.
I like that color.
That's totally
that's the sexiest one. Yeah,
totally lame.
What
you gotta pick a color nobody's had before.
Like fuchsia. Like what are you doing? Fuchsia. What are you doing?
Fuchsia. What the fuck color?
Fuchsia.
I combine purple and fuchsia.
I have a fine chartreuse colored,
rose colored,
cyan.
Well,
no, I honestly think I would go with the color like a black light makes, where it's not quite purple, but it's not quite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be fucking cool. Rad,
like
right?
voidish, void. Yeah,
it's just dark.
Yep.
Like what's it? The dark blade thing, like that, only darker.
Oh, okay, all right, that's fair.
See, that's way
well. You can't pick purple because of lore wise, you're not allowed to. There's a lot of.
Well, I'm allowed to do whatever I want.
I can't. Why can't I pick purple?
You don't know why?
I changed my answer to purple. There.
Oh, okay. I mean,
I'm kidding. It's blue, but why can't people pick?
There's significance to the colors of the lightsabers, and
of course,
and Samuel Jackson.
He didn't ask that question.
Samuel Jackson agreed to do Star Wars only if he got to have the purple lightsaber.
I know the story. Yeah.
Well, so I mean,
motherfucker.
There's significance to the colors, so that's why I asked: is it like a lore question or not? Because there's a lot there.
It's Chris's choice.
All right, yeah, then
Piss yellow.
I stand. Well, yellow was actually on my list, but
like you hit it and it's like gold, like.
Well, it just doesn't.
That's my lightsaber noise, by the way.
Lightsabers are awesome.
Good.
Lightsabers are awesome weapons. It's just it's got to be always in everyone's top 5 list of
So here's the thing: if they have a lightsaber, they should have a light shield.
I agree with that.
Just saying.
Well,
if you can harness light into the energy and have it shaped like that, you could use it to be a complete shield. It's just
I mean,
it's a
it can't
fail
be
on their
it can't
part.
be too hard to have an apparatus that has like multiple lightsabers that spin, right? You know what I mean? Like
I know
like,
he's saying. I mean, General Grievous is a bunch of arms.
General Grievous is one of the coolest characters.
All right, this is about the end of Star Wars discussion.
General
Sorry.
Kenobi. Yeah. I don't know. It's just where it's been is there's so much. Star Wars is such a broad topic now. And Roger, we worked with someone who, I mean, he read those Star Wars books like they were his, like Dylan, like they were his job. He loved those. Like,
yeah, they threw his books right in the trash. They said you're canon. Piss on that. We don't care.
There's some good characters in those books.
But well, like
I've read a couple.
I'm curious.
Listen, I am very good friends with a lot of big Star Wars people, and like we have interesting discussions, and I always have to just play the like I don't care card.
Well, this has been that
guy.
The fourth discussion, but
I think it's good. No, it's
Star Wars.
I think that Star Wars itself has done so much for a lot of different media spheres in general that I don't know where we'd be without it, and I do think that I'm happy that Star Wars fans still get things made for them. I'm sorry that they're in the way the state they currently are, but I think I'm hoping for more stuff that comes along that they can celebrate. So because there's it's such a rich environment to have so many cool stories told that eventually we have to get back onto track where they get to see some cool shit made for them. So
no, I agree with that 100%. I would have done so much like. I never would have. I mean, when I saw the end of episode 7, I'm like, that's how you're going to reintroduce me to Luke, is him drinking on a milk bottle that he just milked these space cows. Like, that's how you're introducing. That's one of the coolest characters of all time. As an old man, you're introducing me to him. He's just lived as a monk,
grass fed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, sure. It's such a joke. Well, the thing is that Star Wars is like, imagine the episode 7 of like, again, completely dismissing the fact that for some reason in this universe, they allowed Germany to rearm a third time and start another war and become very powerful, which wouldn't have happened. But like all in the title crawl of 7, the First Order. How did that happen? Like, who let this happen? Fine. Okay, JJ, fine. Whatever. I can buy that. But then, you story 101 on the rebellion's on the back foot the whole time, or what would have been not the rebellion, but the main people. And then as the movie goes on, they get loss after loss after loss until they're almost down to nothing. And then Rey has her bit of ragtag rebellion people, and they're getting just cut down like crazy. And all of a sudden you hear zoom, lightsaber kick on. Luke just starts doing what everyone wanted him to do in the first place. That's the reintroduction of Luke Skywalker. Or he takes a drink of a milk bottle and tosses it aside.
It was fine.
Which do you want? I mean,
listen, I know which one we got, so it doesn't matter what we wanted.
So I have one more question.
Oh no, we're
for Star Wars discussion. So, do you guys have a favorite Star Wars character in all of Star Wars media?
Obi-Wan, I think, is mine.
Obi-Wan?
Obi-Wan's mine.
No. Gotcha. You don't have one, Roger?
Whatever Ewok.
No.
Wicked. I love Wicked. So I like the Ewoks. I've seen both Ewok films.
I have 2 actually.
They're the first one's actually pretty good. They fight a giant spider.
We watched the Ewoks a lot when I was a little kid.
Yeah. We had the first one on.
Maybe that's why I don't care for Star Wars like the way everybody else. Like my version of Star Wars is just Wicked.
Yeah,
fucking running around beating ass.
So one of my favorite characters from Star Wars, my favorite character from Star Wars is actually Starkiller. I think his story is really cool, but he's
what is that?
He's from the Force Unleashed games, but they for a long time were canon until Disney Marvel decided they
is that Riven? Is that his name?
Huh?
Revan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like that character is extremely. He's fun to play as, but like in like a story setting, his story's cool, and what his goals and purposes are. I mean, it's just like the universe that is Star Wars is so rich with just so much stuff,
so much lore. That's the thing. So. Like, I hope with Luke is back in charge, things change and he gets us back to track. Because I want a Star Wars movie that is again an event.
Yeah. Sorry, Kathleen.
Well, she's been kicked to the curb, so
good.
For good or for bad, that's George is back in, baby. But do you think we'll get another trilogy of the Skywalker stuff? That's likely.
Hey,
we'll see.
I fucking hope not.
Well, I mean,
9 was enough.
I agree. All right. Happy May the 4th to you out there celebrating. If you did, I hope you had a good one, boys. Let's talk about the little eyebrow raise. Thank you for that. Let's talk about the state of Marvel before we get into Thunderbolts on episode 28 post credits podcast.
State of Marvel.
Let's talk about the state of Marvel and where we're sitting for a few minutes.
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
Well, people were excited for Thunderbolts going into it because it's supposed to usher in a new era. And then at the end of this, we get the confirmed existence of the Fantastic Four.
Sure.
So going forward, what do you guys hope, now that we're away from, I guess, the COVID era of Marvel, what do you guys hope comes next?
Well, so I think this is an interesting topic, but I think it depends on where you want to look at it from. So like the state of Marvel, right? Like where we come from with Marvel, right? So like Marvel itself has gone through
It's gone from an extreme high to a not so high.
Yeah, I mean it's the definition of peak and valley, right? So like they rode this peak straight up and did the impossible and stuck the landing through a wide series of movies. And then from their highest point, they actually go down to their lowest state, and very quickly, rapidly, right? So
repeatedly too, by the way.
And they stayed there. Like they go up, they stay up, and then they crash down. And no matter what they did, like they weren't finding what would climb them back up. We went through, the whole Infinity Saga, got through the Infinity War Endgame, ended on such a strong moment, even though there were just pieces of like what we're seeing now in large degree, which is like the bad side of it, right? Yep. We've pointed out like in Endgame how they had the girl power moment, which felt fabricated and forced as hell, and like it was things like that were beginning to seep through,
and even the actors didn't like it.
And then we end up, and then everything that follows that, it seems to be just bad. So much so to where they burned through all the good faith I think a lot of fans had, myself included.
Sure.
So here we are.
Very fair.
Here we are, the highest of the highs. Then all the series where most of them didn't matter, and most of them aren't received well.
One of them did.
And going all the way through now in deep into what everyone is calling phase 4 and all that, to where we are right now, where Thunderbolts has just come out. We've seen it, we know where it's at, we know where the plan is. This thing took a sharp turn with Kang, right?
Yep.
Where they had
delineation,
they had to make some choices, which they did, and I think it's because of that we get Fantastic Four in the way we are right now. So talking about the current state of Marvel, I would say that currently, as it stands, we're in a space that the ball has never been more in their court, where I've seen what they've done right, I've seen what they've done wrong,
very wrong.
And my most recent experience with them is the middlest of middle ground I've ever been at with Marvel, right? In a movie that I didn't think was going to do well, a movie I didn't think was going to be fun, a movie I didn't think was going to have any legs to stand on, story that I cared about. They barely squeak and pull it through, right? And it's like, okay, you now have the opportunity to build off of this momentum into something. They already have things in the can, but now I want to see where they're going to go with it. So State of Marvel, to me, thinking about it, is I apprehensively want to see what's next, where before I was just kind of being drug along.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? And it's I'm no longer in that drug along state. I'm now kind of like, okay, what have you got? Because I firmly believe that Fantastic Four is going to have issues that stem from the old Marvel problem that they've had for a little while now. But I think they're this is their opportunity to see things crawl out of that into a positive way.
I think post Endgame we have seen some of the worst that Marvel has to offer. Legitimately, movie wise, I would say we only have about 2 movies that have any real redeeming qualities.
Mm-hmm.
That being Spider-Man, Homecoming, or No Way Home.
No Way Home.
No Way Home.
Is that the one with the multiple spoilers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, which is great movie. Very well done. Very good way to bring the multiverse together. And Thunderbolts at this point.
Deadpool and Wolverine did good things.
Excellent movie. Very well done. I still don't know where that falls.
I'm apprehensive about Deadpool Wolverine.
I don't know where that goes in Marvel in general.
Yeah. In a vacuum, Deadpool Wolverine, fantastic.
Oh yeah, 10
right?
out of 10.
But like
awesome
the fact that they want to use that as some launch pad for other parts of the
other
story,
weird spin-off vehicles
has me worried.
Yeah.
Beyond belief.
Well, I mean, look, the hard part is done. Hugh Jackman is back. Like that's the hard part. They're over the hardest hump. Like now they just have to not fuck it up, because that movie did such well. I mean, the momentum that movie created, I was like, I'm worried that this is not going to be continued. And Thunderbolts, like it kind of is. Like, okay, now I'm still kind of high on it, but like, and of the three of it's funny because you were the one that was least excited going to Thunderbolts
100%.
by far.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but we'll see where we're sitting now. But
the last thing I want to say is though, we have seen a couple of movies that have come out that had potential to stand on their own legs that has failed miserably, like Thor: Love and Thunder is fucking terrible.
It's bad.
Terrible movie. But Thor: Love and Thunder had potential to be great.
It did.
And they just let it just right in the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
Right? Like the dog just took a dump
So
at the doorstep.
much so that one of your leading characters, your leading actors said I want to keep doing this, but I won't keep doing this.
Yeah.
You know, like to lose Hemsworth, for any reason
to lose the big three is death. Because who you're replacing them with suck.
Yeah, but it's different. Two of those guys wanted to walk away, and Hemsworth, like they made him walk away. There's a difference, right? Like he said, "I love being Thor." He would be Thor.
I love being a god.
He would have been Thor, for as long as they wanted him to be Thor for until Love and Thunder happened, and then
until the movie just started sucking.
Yeah, well, he was like, "I want a break. I need to take a break."
Yeah, well, it's like to lose that, like that's like they did that, right?
Yeah.
He didn't make that decision.
No, but they wrote it like that. Like they forced him out for a while. Like it was their decision. It wasn't his decision.
No. He said he will not come back as
I understand, but like the movie, what he was doing was so bad. Like he had, for his career, he had a big look. I'm gonna take a few years, and you guys figured it out without me for a while.
Yeah,
but like they did that to him, like Fat Thor and
yeah.
Fuck,
yeah.
Are you kidding me with that nonsense?
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm just
no. But like I'm just building off of Roger's point. It's like it's just there's been so much bad.
Well, there has been. Love and Thunder is really, really bad. Like the Sam Wilson Captain America New World Order, like that movie's bad.
Yeah.
And it's very, very bad, which is unfortunate because it directly ties into Thunderbolts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much time has passed, but it's not too much. But I assume it's 6 months to a year in between.
There's mistakes made in the movie too, and I'll point this out.
Sure,
we'll talk about it.
But like
wasn't it me who said like I thought Bucky went to that scene with Sam Wilson to write to the like.
Well,
I think it did though, didn't it?
No, because he was running for election to be the congressman, and by the time Thunderbolts rolls around, he is a freshman congressman.
Yeah.
He's already got
6
the
months
job.
into his term.
Okay, and it's long enough that they've already elected a new president, or somebody else is taking over as president from Thaddeus Ross as well. But that's a few minutes later discussion. But like that movie did a lot of damage to what I think. I mean, we heard that movie was in reshoot hell forever,
God, yeah.
And I think that they just sort of cobbled something together to be like, all right, here it is. Most of the stuff's not going to matter here shortly anyway, and we're going to use the multiverse to clean it up, which is fine. I don't really have a problem with that because you can only play the hand you're dealt. But like, I think when we circle back to where we're at right now, post seeing Thunderbolts, I'm kind of okay with everything again because I think for the first time in a while, we kind of have like a cleaner slate, and we don't really have an expectation besides the fact we know the Fantastic Four are coming.
Yeah.
So
and like State of Marvel, like part of this for me is like they need to get away from whatever mode they've been in for a long time with the end of Captain America, the big fight at the end. It's resolved by them talking it out, right?
Yeah,
I think his Watchmen is the same way.
Well, it's like you have this, you have like, and then in Thunderbolts. And I know we're going to talk about it, but like they solve things the same way, right? It's like there's this discussion that happens that closes out the
It's almost
climax.
like writers are using cookie cutter moments.
I agree with that, but on a different point, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. But it doesn't have to be that way for both of these films.
You're right.
And, it makes more sense for it not to be that way in the previous film.
True.
You know what I mean? But it's like we need to see a superhero film in the way that I don't know, superhero fans want to see. And that's the state that Marvel needs to get back to and be okay with that. At some point, they weren't okay with what they were doing. They weren't okay with what the fans wanted to see, and their movie writing has shown that, or their show writing has shown that.
There's a huge caveat to what you just said. Massive caveat.
What's that?
You said they weren't okay with what fans wanted. Fans wanted more of traditional what we got from 2008, 2007, 8 to 2019. They wanted more of that.
Okay, yeah.
And Disney wasn't as interested as prioritizing that as much as other things.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
that's part of the problem.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that.
Well,
force other things into something that's established. That's a problem.
But the other thing is they have seem to have seen the light on that and are course correcting.
We'll see. Yeah, I hope so.
They have begun to course correct.
I have a few theories, but I want to go back to something you just said about that you think there's a lot of in Thunderbolts. There's a lot of what the movie you said was a lot like it. The ending, where they talk about everything. Captain America.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of Deadpool and Wolverine influence in Thunderbolts. I have my reasons, but
you said that, but I think that'll end better for our next discussion.
Sure. But I do think there's similarities in both, but I do think Deadpool and Wolverine making well over $1 billion it made them see something and say, okay, we like making $1 billion again when we haven't for a while. We need to copy. We need to make sure this happens again.
I think that's a problem. I think that's one of the things that got Marvel into the problem.
You don't always have to chase the profit.
You
should chase the better writing.
They're going to
better
though.
movie.
Yes. Like they're not going to be able to separate the fact that Wolverine and Deadpool, as much as I love it, is a meme film with a meme topic.
It's true. Right, that's very true.
You know what I mean?
It's deep down, it's a cool action movie full of fucking jokes.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to take that story and weave it into the rest of their little multiverse project.
Exactly.
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah. So it's like it's like, they want to chase the success and chase the profits, but it's this the state of Marvel, to stay adjacent to the topic, is like the state of Marvel isn't, well, this worked here and made us money, so this is what's going to work there. That's not how that works.
No.
That's a specific movie.
No, but formula does. That's why I was saying. More the formula, less the money, more the formula.
Yeah, but you can't take Deadpool Wolverine's formula and apply it to another movie and it be successful.
Well, you can't. In a broad spectrum way of you have a movie that has kind of a contained action, and then the end, the last 30 minutes is a really emotional ride. It resonates. I'm guessing the next 3 movies will be just like it because of the Deadpool Wolverine.
Okay.
But as far as state of Marvel, let me just say one thing about that is I don't think that was you said something about a standout. They had to figure out a hard time to work that in a way that they did, and that's why we got kind of a one-off with Deadpool and Wolverine, which didn't really worry about the other things, but will become more important. Is
maybe we don't know.
Is bringing Hugh Jackman. Deadpool for us was a vehicle to get Hugh Jackman back, at least for Deadpool and Wolverine. So as in reference to the state of Marvel, Hugh Jackman being back is part of that conversation because it's huge in the success of that.
Sure.
Okay, it's huge in the success of Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't know if Hugh Jackman
as Wolverine is essential.
Yeah, but I don't think you're getting that out of the Marvel films.
And I'm willing to make a bet that we will see RDJ back as Iron Man too. I'm willing to bet. Same with Evans being back for a while as Captain America. You guys can say I'm crazy, but that's about the only way they can pull this out of the dump at this moment.
Okay, but here's the thing: if that's what they go to, it means that they're going to buy themselves 1 or 2 successful movies, and it's not going to work over and over again.
Sure.
So they're going to be right back to where they were.
If you don't change the narrative and don't change the story and point it a different direction, and you go back and milk the nostalgia a little bit, because here's the thing, I don't know how I feel about them having Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom either, but he's great, so I expect him to do a good job.
Yeah.
I just think you're just pulling on a fucking string that you should never have grabbed to start with.
So if it didn't exist in like within the comic books before, I'd have more of a problem with like RDJ as Doom. But like I think what I'm mainly thinking is that like they can't just throw old actors back into their roles and then like
They will age out of them.
and find success and be like, yes, we've done it. This is the way to do it, right? It's like
Sure.
it's like that will work once, that will work maybe twice, because they have to actually commit to the change, find a new group of people to be their Avengers, literally, and figuratively, and then trust them to make good films with them. Like that's what needs to happen, and that comes with writing. That comes with not blaming your audience for your mistakes.
Writing's the big one though, because with good writing, you don't have to blame your audience, because then they will come anyway.
Yeah.
The reason a lot of those movies made such good money, it wasn't because like it was because they were very well made movies. For the first 10 or 15, they were just really well done.
As much as you kind of shit on like the Marvel films for a long time for being what they are, right?
Of course.
They followed the superhero formula, like the proper one. Like, of the hero has comes in, is successful, has a struggle, is unsuccessful, rises up, is successful, saves the day.
Yeah.
And like somewhere
3-act structure, baby.
Somewhere after Endgame, they decided that wasn't the way to go. And I can't fathom. I know why they thought that. They're idiots.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, you're probably right in the long run, but it's for some reason they wanted to. They had all this built-in success, and we're like, we want to do something different, which I respect the idea of trying to do something different, because if you look at how the MCU, where it stands right now to what it was 6 years ago. Okay. They have been dealt some blows that weren't anybody's fault. Like, obviously the Kang stuff with Jonathan Majors sucks and he has to be fired. And I get that. Okay. They didn't foresee that. They had a plan that, he was going to be a big bad for a while. And the other real thing that hit them like a fucking gut punch is Chadwick Boseman dying. Yeah. Because like, one, it's bad, it sucks that something like that happens to anyone, but he was really, really fucking good. And the Black Panther movie by itself is fucking excellent.
It is.
And he owned that character. Like, he always will be the Black Panther to me, and Disney had to do something. And listen, Black Panther 2 was a completely different type of movie. I think they did a good job of pivoting from him and giving his character the respect and a proper send-off. And like, that's hard to do. And then to try to take that universe and still expand on it, like they were put in a box to try to get out of that. And I think they did a decent job doing that. But imagine what that would be if he hadn't passed.
I mean,
like where things it's.
But that's the what if game, man. You can't play that what if game because we don't know.
90% of the Marvel thing is
very different. That's
runs off of that.
Yeah, but so like I don't know what having Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther would do for where they've taken the franchise through their writing, right? Like they would still have access to Chadwick Boseman as the Black Panther. Positive, 100%, huge positive, right? And then they had a good villain brewing with Kang, right? But their problem isn't right now or for the while now.
No, it's not just those.
Hasn't been bad villains and no good heroes. It's been how poorly they've written the stories that they're trying to tell.
Trying to tweak characters that they have a canon set to pull from and make them more popular than what they are. Because I think Disney had a lot of hubris with that. Because
I agree.
The real thing is like it's the whole case study and everything. This will be the last thing that I mention because we need to move forward.
Okay, yeah.
But like, Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man was perfect. Iron Man was a D-level fucking comic book character for most of his career until legitimately Marvel said, we're going to make this dude the star.
Yeah.
And they did. And the problem what Disney latched onto is they thought they could take any other D-level character and be like, we're going to make them the star. Now, like, it's look, possible. They got really successful with it. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy are the other A-prime fucking success story because they were basically nothing. and
Mhm.
they got a good director and a nice set of characters, and they built that and made it fucking
Well,
rad.
they had a good leading man.
Yeah.
I'll admit, good
Your
leading man.
buddy Chris Pratt.
They had a good leading man. They had a good ensemble cast. But
Yes.
like again, that's one of the
Well,
a cast like that.
That
won't
movie
happen again.
thrives off of great writing.
It does. All three of them
But
do.
then they would take the other characters that were already strong, like Captain Marvel is the prime crux to all this, who is a alpha level strength character that they can't write for shit.
And it's not even can't write for shit. It's they write the wrong stories.
Well, they tell stories that nobody cares about.
They tell stories nobody cares about. They got somebody in the role that doesn't care about it, and again,
Brie Larson, right?
and like what they surrounded her with and her stories with, like it isn't the fact that well the fans are wrong. It's the fact that you told a story that no one actually cares about,
Yep.
and you have actors that don't care about it, and then instead of learning from that, they then blame about it.
Yeah,
and,
double down and say it's your fault.
and it's like it's how easy would it have been for them to see something go, because like they see something go really good and they go, ooh, let's do that again. Why can't they see something bad and go, maybe we fucked up? Like how hard is
not-
that?
It's not us that's wrong. It's you.
Well, it's not. Hold on. There's a lot. I mean, again, talking in nuance here, they know they can't just all of a sudden double back on policies they put in place after a certain year in this country a couple of years ago. Like they have to keep going with those policies. But the point is like
They don't have to. They don't have to.
but
put
they
anything out.
don't help the story be told. Is that's the problem? Is Marvel? I think one of the reasons that again the original run up of like phase 1, phase 2 was so successful is the story was written by how the story was going to be written by, and nothing deviated it. But since then, we've gotten into other things that have deviated the story for other than story reasons, and that's when your story fails. Because now you have movies that don't make sense, that don't jive with the movie. Like you could literally cut out 5 of the last 7 movies, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, like, and this will be the last thing I say about it.
Okay.
Like they have a real character writing problem. Like they're taking characters, like you said, D-list characters, and trying to make them into stars, but in doing so, all of those characters are the same people, just played by different actors at
yes,
this point.
of course.
And then with same stories, same attitudes, same mentalities, just with different skins. And like that's true for their D-list characters and their A-list characters are trying to pull from.
Yep.
Like they have a character writing issue, and I don't know if they see it. And it's prevalent. It's one of my negatives in Thunderbolts.
I think they did see it, and I think they are trying to change it. Whether or not
Thunderbolts-
it's successful or not, I don't know.
Thunderbolts fights against that theory. Actually,
I would agree with Chris.
Well,
so
the last thing, because I know it's so good.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever watch professional wrestling? And I mean, this is a serious question.
I don't.
Okay, well,
I have.
so
and I dabble.
character
sometimes.
writing is like the most successful thing or the most integral thing you can have with wrestling, right? Everything's scripted. They always know what's going to happen like 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Okay. The Marvel problem is a wrestling problem. You have all of these people, right? When you watch wrestling, wrestling's on for 3 hours twice a week. Okay. So you have 6 hours.
6 hours a week. That's a lot.
Well,
That's
it's
a
not
lot.
though. It's not
That's
when you have
Chernobyl twice
when
a
you
week.
have 40 people you want to show on TV.
Yeah.
6 hours, when that starts to break down, you run out of things. But what happens is you learn that people really only want to see like 2 or 3 of those people.
Yeah.
And so 6 hours becomes 3 hours to get the other 38 people in there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then, maybe we really like 2 of them too. Well, then now you have 2 hours to get the other 35 people in there. And then but that's the thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Is you've made your universe so expansive, which is great. Hell yeah, we got everybody here. You know, every famous person gets to be a fucking superhero. That's awesome. They love doing it. Then you get to see them once every 4 years.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit.
Hmm.
You understand my point
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
It's like you continue. People are like, well, we want to change stuff up. No, you don't. You want to watch the same
Can I-
people wrestle every week, and you want to see the same things happen.
Well,
Because look, we give you new people, you don't care, which is partly our fault, but is also partly your fault. Because I mean that Disney did the same thing.
Yeah.
We gave you new characters to like, you didn't like them. Is that my fault? I gave you something different because you clamored for years and years. We got to have something different.
Yeah.
We gave you something different. You didn't like. Now listen, I wrote it shitty.
I was gonna say,
That's
yeah,
true. No,
that matters.
but hey, I gave it to you. You should be thankful.
Well, that's the
Hey,
thing.
you're not thankful. Fuck you. Because like, look, that's what happened with some of these characters.
That's what they're doing. That's what they did.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's really what this boils down
There's
to.
another nuanced conversation we won't have here, but just know it's out there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think you're right about a lot of it. The problem is it's a multi-pronged problem, as is the state of Marvel is a multi-pronged problem. Is like, but even if every film was, even if for the first 5-7 years they were all 10s, this is film 36, man. You're eventually going to get to the point where you're having a hard time with the story. It's just how it works.
I think some of those leaves some of those branches have been pruned.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think Minecraft. This is a weird place to end this conversation at. Minecraft is a great example of something that they have access to but refuse to use. Minecraft is a shit movie writing wise.
sure,
It
it's
is.
terrible.
It's got shit acting.
It's
in
bad,
it, all
yeah.
over the place too. It is a bad movie.
Wildly successful and a lot of fun.
and they have people that know working on that know the subject material. They talk to people that live in that space every day. They have the same access with Marvel, more of it. I would wager.
Sure.
They just for some reason are refusing to tap into that. Like you have a movie that should be in all seriousness, $21 million and came and went in Minecraft. Instead,
it
it
might hit $1 billion.
It's climbing to $1 billion.
Yeah, it might hit $1 billion.
It's a hard
not
fucking
$1 billion.
3. You know what I mean?
It might.
Too many big things this time. Like it's dead.
But my point is like it's because they committed to the actual thing that the fans love. That movie was made for its fans.
Sure, of course.
Marvel hasn't made movies hasn't made content for their fans since Endgame.
No, Deadpool and Wolverine, I would argue, more fan service than story.
Hey, that was made by who? Who made that? Who pushed for that movie?
Ryan Reynolds.
What is he?
Well, Deadpool, and I understand.
What is he? A fan.
Well,
he loves that character.
Sure, but I mean, Disney didn't just be like. It's not like who's the big guy at Disney. We always hear his name.
Bob Iger.
But
No.
Kevin Feige is like he wouldn't have just okay, Ryan, do whatever you want. Like he would have definitely had sought oversight to still kind of pigeon-toe it into what he saw was going anyway.
That's true, but like with Deadpool especially, is they legitimately had like face-to-face, sit-down contractual things. Like if we don't put this in a movie, we won't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of thing, and Ryan Reynolds has enough clout to be able to do that, where a lot of these other people don't, which is fine. But like, he was like, if we don't do some of this stuff, I'm just not going to do the fucking movie.
There are tons of articles of how many times Ryan Reynolds had to battle with Iger about like, hey, I'm doing this way, I'm not doing this your way.
Yeah,
because
there was concessions made, of course, but he had, I think he had fucking final cut.
Yeah, and again, you have someone that cares about it from a fan perspective. Like that's what really does it, and Marvel has that in spades. They could talk to so many people that love these characters, but they're too proud for it because that's not what they're experts on will make money. And here we are. So that's like they have things they need to do. It's just if they're willing to do them.
I think there's a finer line there with the nuance that like has more to do with it, with the decisions they make than you think it does. But I mean, it's all speculation because we're not on the other side.
Yeah,
we're on this side of it, and
I feel like I have a good example with Ryan Reynolds.
No, I don't think you're wrong about it. I just don't know how right you are.
No, yeah,
that's the whole thing. But
all right, cue us up, Thunderbolts.
There's another movie this week we watched. I mean, the state of Marvel is important because every couple of movies you're going to have to kind of recap of like, okay, what's going on, and so
it's one of those things where like there's a chance that they go on an upswing.
Well, can they get people to care again? That's the whole thing.
That's a different state than they're currently in.
But I think they're on their way to it. I just don't think they're there yet. But all due respect to that, let's talk about another movie we watched this week on episode 28 of Post Credits Podcast. We are going to talk about Thunderbolts. How do you guys think about that?
Sounds exciting.
I'm ready to talk about Thunderbolts.
All right. Do you guys know what the Rotten Tomatoes score was?
I bet it's pretty high.
Rotten Tomatoes, probably decent.
88 and 95.
Yeah,
right. That's a little higher than I don't know if in all sincerity, I think that's too high, but that's just me.
Well, so like I know why the fans is high. I mean, I know why the critics is high, and I
I
think
don't.
the critics is high, and it's for vastly different reasons than why the fans is as high as it is.
Okay.
You know, I think the critics is high because of the subject matter of this movie. They're falling and fawning all over the fact that it's about mental health.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, as much as this is an action movie, this is a mental health movie,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
I think it is okay.
That's a weird. I get that, like but like it's about past decisions. I mean, mental health is a weird thing to like attach to it as like what it's about. I just think it's about characters who are looking back at what they've done and trying to atone for it.
That's called trauma.
Yeah, I get it, but like calling it because it's about mental health just because we're in 2025 is like it's a weird take.
Yeah, I don't want to hard stop that, but like to say that it's not like it's about mental health, it 100% is.
Well, sure, but
There's not a subjective thing there. Like, she legitimately, Yelena, Florence Pugh's character, starts off like having a conversation basically about killing herself. Like,
Yeah.
that's what she's talking about. Like, there's not nuance there. There's
no, of course not.
there's not like, oh, well, we had to rope this into a movie in 2025. Like, this is how her character sets. And like, look, obviously somebody wrote that way, but that shit's probably hard to deal with. So I understand that.
Yeah.
So like, to be able to craft a movie like this, I think is impressive. But not everybody's going to like it because of that. But I mean, clearly, critically, a lot of people seem to. So.
Yeah.
The Metacritic is also very high. It's 68.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like it's 70. That's like must watch level.
Yeah.
So
I guarantee you, that if you crawl through the like the ratings and the comments later on, it's gonna talk about the whole mental health thing in every single one of them or close to it.
Which is why I don't like that. But
well, it was like it's strange. I'm in a weird place with it, right? So like, I think that it's a fine thing to base like the crux of the movie on, right? I think that's okay. I think that it's getting a little too much credit in that department for being like good or solid writing in that aspect. But I do think like, okay, I don't think it's a cheap stab at it. I think they made a choice, did a thing, and I think that it was actually an overall good decision on their part for that reason. So
well, it's the same thing as Honora. Is like a lot of people looking back now saying it did as well as it did because it talks about how awful how the industry treats sex workers. It's like, well, that shouldn't have anything to do with how critically received your film is. It really shouldn't. But
okay.
that's the point I'm trying to make is,
yeah,
it's like it shouldn't. High mark shouldn't be because it's tackling a tough subject.
Well, yeah, but
But
tough
hold
subject.
on, why not?
I think it's a relatable.
Well, is it a
subject.
well-written movie about the subject? Like there's all.
I
kinds of
don't.
stuff here.
Well, here's the thing. I wouldn't say it's a poorly written one.
I don't think it's a poorly-written movie. I just don't think it's a. I don't think it's a
Well,
notably
but
well-written
then
film.
again, though, it becomes completely subjective.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because
art
here's
is.
the thing: if you want to argue the nuance part of it, is if you don't think it's a good one, but you can't say it's a bad one, does that mean that it's not successful in that? And like, I don't want to play the wordsmith game here, but if they didn't want to talk about it, they wouldn't. Okay.
In the movie,
But but clearly they do want to make it a forefront for not just one character, multiple characters in this movie. I mean, shit, the entire cast basically is dealing with some form of it. Yeah. And is it a perfect rendition of how everybody perceives mental health? Absolutely not. Is it more than serviceable for what we've ever seen in a superhero film? I'd say absolutely that it is. And for the fact to see like real human beings, because multiple people in this movie aren't enhanced in any way, dealing with real human problems, is an interesting take on something we've never really seen, especially in the MCU before.
Which is why I like it so much.
Yeah, which I mean, it works.
I would argue this movie does more interesting things than anything after Spider-Man post Thanos combined.
Well, they definitely tried to do something different here, and it feels different.
Yeah.
Listen, not everybody's going to like it. I do personally, but it is definitely a different tone of a movie.
People have been saying that Marvel has to do one of two things: A, they have to try something new, or they have to get back to
the old stuff.
They have to get back to the formula, right? So like they did one of those two things, and they tried something new. So hearing people complain that that they don't like this direction, it's like, well, at least they did something different.
Tried something different. Yep.
So it didn't Thor: Love and Thunder it, and
try something different that everybody
write shit into oblivion and destroy characters
goat jokes.
Yeah,
they still make that joke in Marvel Rivals.
True. Yeah, but like, they went with something, a subject that hasn't been tackled yet in a Marvel film. So
Sure.
they did the thing. They, that like people said that they want them to do. So hearing them complain about that thing is irritating.
All right, Thunderbolts, directed by Jake Schreier. Of course, Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Louis Pullman, Bob. I like his name, Bob. Of course,
He's the Universal Bob.
That's an actual thing.
Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah,
His
he's
Bob.
the Universal Bob.
David Harbour, Wyatt Russell, Olga Kurylenko for all of 10 seconds. Hannah John Kamen.
No, Olga is Ghost.
The one that dies.
No, that's Taskmaster.
That's Taskmaster.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Taskmaster. Sorry.
Which is hilarious to me, by the way.
I
and
called it. I told you
Geraldine
guys.
Viswanathan, which that's a big cast.
It is.
It's a very good cast. Very, very good. Very
Well,
big
here's
cast.
the thing. It's a well-rounded cast, but for the scale that this movie has, it's a very small cast.
Mhm.
As for what we've gotten from a lot of
Well, it is
movies.
it's a very kind of contained movie.
Yeah.
Until the end, it's very contained.
Well, even when stuff happens in New York, it's still the 5 of them.
Yeah.
6 of them was
In
it?
New York.
Well, yeah, but I
Every
mean,
New Yorker, 10 million people. But yeah, sure. Let's talk about it, guys. I think it's funny that you were the lowest on it going in. I was probably the highest. Roger and I were pretty equally as high.
Yeah.
And I come out kind of like, it's okay. And then you had the same, it's okay, right?
Yeah, I do.
And Rob, you had the same, it's okay.
No, well, I mean, I think it's pretty decent. I am just happy that it's what I would consider a solid movie pretty much from start to finish. This movie has problems, and I won't say that it doesn't, but for what I think Marvel needs, I think it tonally shifts a couple of things, grounds a couple of characters, brings a new very powerful character to light, which is fine, and it sets the tone for some direct stuff in the future.
Well, let's see where we are. Let's do thumbs up, thumbs down.
Okay.
All right. So 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I don't think any
Okay.
It'd be hard to say thumbs down on this one.
Yeah,
I think it'd be hard
I
argument
agree
to
with
make.
that.
Okay. That's good. So we're all at least in a positive space about this
Of
film.
course,
Yeah.
yes.
With a asterisk,
Sure,
on
sure.
top of it all. You know what I mean? So
I mean, there definitely are some problems with this movie. There's some continuality things, which
continuity.
continuity.
Is that what you're going
Yes.
for? Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
If you need a minute to stroke out, go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, it's yeah.
Not a wordsmith. Roger is not
Nope.
a wordsmith.
Not right now.
No, not at
Once
this
the
time.
stroke passes. it'll be fine.
But yeah, there's definitely that happens at least twice
Yeah.
in this movie. But for most of the stuff, I don't think it matters.
It's fair.
Like, the real thing that I think is funny in this movie is there's not really any long drawn out fight scenes. We get basically 2 actions pieces, and they're not even super big. The first time that they meet in the vault, all of them together, we get a nice little thing, and then all the way at the end when they're fighting the void, like that's really it. We get a couple of like one-off things in between where they're fighting down the hallway and stuff like that. But there's not, for an action movie, there's not a lot.
Yeah.
There's really not.
I don't know if I'd call this one an action movie. I mean, I think you have to call every MCU movie an action movie, right?
Sure, yeah, but
I wouldn't consider this one. If that helps.
But I mean, again, though, that's something that from the trailer you wouldn't think.
No, you wouldn't.
You would think that there was fighting every minute in this movie, and there's really not. And I think it's for the better that it's not.
But I think it needs they need to set some. They need to start setting stuff up. Is what we're doing in like.
Well, that's what this movie overall. Spoiler alert: this movie sets the tone for
going forward
a couple years from now. So,
and I'm okay with it. Oddly, I'm okay with it. But
the real thing that I have an issue with is we know that this movie takes place after the Sam Wilson Captain America.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't know exactly how far, but I assume 6 months to a year or so, because like I said earlier, that Bucky has been voted into Congress, as a representative from Brooklyn, which I think is funny.
Yeah. I think it's hard to
He's our first war criminal.
It's hard.
No, that's probably not accurate.
Yeah. It's hard to say because I don't think that they tracked their own continuity well. In this, like we can say, well, he's been in Congress for X amount of time, but like at the same
still in his first year because he's still a freshman.
Yeah, but at the same time, we talked about how, we know that Captain America's already happened and such, but it doesn't make any sense because he was 2 months in then, but 6 months later. But they talk about, it's only been 2 months without a president. Like, there's timeline stuff that they messed up here.
Yeah.
So I don't know how important that is.
Or they left it openly fuzzy.
Yeah,
maybe?
like there's timeline stuff here, but I don't think it's in ways that matter and whatever.
No, not really.
They probably
In the
had,
grand scheme, it probably doesn't.
I don't think any of that. I mean,
it just goes to the care being shown for it and the planning.
Sure.
I do think that it shows that they've pivoted somewhere.
that's part of this is the 36th goddamn movie we're doing. We can't always be accurate about everything.
I mean,
Well,
you can
they
easily
can.
you can easily make a whiteboard and stick some sticky notes up.
Or a
You know what I
Miro
mean?
board. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, shit, we use a Miro board.
you
Come
know,
on now.
there's ways to do this.
Well, it's just, but I think this one is different because there's a lot of, given how the last 25 minutes goes, and the setup for that is Yelena talking to Bob of, well, can I trust you? No, not really. And then like that kind of carries over later. But like, I think the important part is the ensemble cast, the David Harbour, the Florence Pugh, the Wyatt Russell is. I think they intended for this movie not to be actiony. They intended for it to be a talky and setup,
character driven.
But like, one of my first thoughts, and maybe this is intentional, I'm so far to the realm of my knowledge now of MCU stuff, but is
Most people are at this point.
it doesn't,
because now we're just free balling.
Well, they haven't given anybody a reason to care enough to look into
the
it
decision to make Sam Wilson the new Cap America was because we've already done the white hat Captain America where he only does good, no bad. And we have the same Captain America. And watching this movie, I'm like, did they really choose to not make Wyatt Russell's character the new Captain America? He has such a weird past, and it's like he's not Captain America on paper, and they allude to that several times. So, you're Captain America, but you're an asshole.
Well, so the real thing is, and this is this not the first time, but this is one of the times where a Disney Plus series was vital to watch, to know the history.
Or Falcon Winter
Soldier.
Them, actually,
well,
if you think about it.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't know who Ghost is unless you've seen her in the Plus series.
Well, she's Ant-Man.
Yeah,
she's
also in the one you like, right? She's in Hawkeye.
No.
She's in one of the Plus.
Okay,
plus
it's
things.
not Hawkeye.
Okay, it's one of them, and again, it's like there's things there about her character that
She in Loki. I didn't watch season 2 of Loki. It could be.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I mean they all exist somewhere, but like the Wyatt Russell U.S. agent, Captain America, whatever you want to call him, is like a major player in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
And he's an asshole. Which is fine, and I'm glad he gets called out for it. But like, he also is a super soldier.
Well, he's the more interesting choice than, unless that was put in motion many, many movies ago. But going with Anthony Mackie's version is like,
I have no problem with Anthony Mackie's
Cap. You can't have bad Captain America, buddy. There's when it comes to comic book heroes, Captain America is basically untouchable. It's like you can't make Batman start shooting people and using guns. You can't have Captain America take his shield and beat somebody to death on national television. And that's that's what Wyatt Russell, that's what John Walker did in that show.
And they bring it into this because they talk about he killed someone, but
he killed an innocent person.
Does Sam become Cap America lore-wise?
Yes.
Okay, so I did. Okay, that's
has been Captain America for a while.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but like it's. I wouldn't have minded if either of those guys became Captain America, right? I actually think Bucky's the best
Barnes,
choice. You know what I mean?
Captain America.
Of course. Why would, I don't know how we deviated from that.
That's what because he's a better character when he's not Captain America.
Oh, sure.
I don't agree with that.
That's the important part.
But
I do.
What I think is I mean, there's a specific reason Anthony Mackie is Captain America right now, and it's fine, whatever. But like it's it's how they're doing it that doesn't feel right. It's when they're doing it. It's the reasons why they're doing it that doesn't feel right. It's like, you have Captain America who isn't the hero in his own movie, not fighting a villain that's like a Captain America villain. He's fighting a whole different villain that doesn't belong in like his repertoire, right?
Nope.
Which is fine, but they didn't do it right. And like now we're in this film looking at what could have been a Captain America, which I like his story. I like the fact that he went AWOL. I don't think he did anything wrong with his situation and circumstances. I
mean, he did kill a guy.
Besides killing the innocent guy.
He's a really bad dad, a really bad husband too.
But what
military guys have a lot of problems with that, and hey, that's a real thing.
Yeah,
that also comes back to the mental health part.
Yeah, and what I'm getting at here is like it's like his character. I think in this is boiled down to a cheaper version of what we got out of the series, and that's a problem with only having the movie time and a good ensemble cast that you want to see all the characters
Well,
of.
one of the problems with Falcon and Winter Soldier is it was better than a lot of the movies that they were pointing out at the time.
Yeah,
Because like it's true. Because
yeah,
I would honestly say that Falcon Winter Soldier is like the best Marvel Disney Plus thing,
Okay.
or close to it.
I wouldn't even argue on that.
It's very well done.
Yeah.
And
high quality.
it tells a very good. It tells a very believable story set in that world. With is not just Sam taking over the mantle of Captain America, but like it's like he was gone for 5 years. Of course, he got denied for his home loan. He has nothing. He's like, well, I'm goddamn Captain America. And but like that's you keep that character semi grounded. And it was interesting, and a lot of that comes back into play here, where like this movie is light years better than the Captain America movie, and it probably shouldn't have been.
It is.
It's just the Captain America movie's a disaster.
Well, like so they did something. So like some of the things I think they did right in this movie, one of them being characters, right? So like as much I have problems with with the characters too,
sure,
as well. But like they have a cast of characters here, and they focus on them, and in a way that people are interested in. Whereas in the Captain America, the Falcon one, where like they don't really do that. They kind of like pull you on this weird ride with characters you don't really know yet, and then you have villains you don't really give a shit about. Whatever.
Power broker.
Yeah, this is different, and they made us care about the villain before he became a villain in this too, which I think was a good move.
Yep.
I think that Bob is actually the best acted character in this movie. I think that guy knocks it out of the park. I think he does the
Lewis
best.
Pullman
job.
is a good actor.
He is, and I think
Sentry's a good character.
he is. He's an interesting character.
Superman-esque.
Well,
Superman.
that's what he. Well, that's the thing. He's like there was a point in comic books where like people were doing like, what if Superman was a bad guy kind of thing, and this is one of Marvel's versions of that. Is exactly this.
Is Sentry the character? Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So like
so is the Void.
Yeah. That's an actual thing.
So the other side of Sentry, the Void. That's the name.
It's
of
an
it.
actual
That's
thing.
a real
really
thing.
He's not. I'm worried that we're now moving past.
He's
that.
not usually like about despair. It's about other things. But like it's fine. It works. Like I'm cool with this. And I think he does a great job in this. Like he does a good job being Bob the dude. He does a good job of being the Centurion, the asshole, and he does a great job of being Void, the emo,
darkness,
all he does a great job with all three of these things.
By the way, visually, it was kind of awesome.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah,
100%.
blacked out, and you just see the reflection of his eyes. Fucking creepy.
Yeah, I think they did a good job with that here.
I think we really need to get into Thunderbolts as far as like I know there's a lot of nuanced conversation, but like where we pick up with Thunderbolts and where we
don't know.
We don't know where we know we pick up in the movie when you start watching it. We know where things.
Well, yeah, but I think that's what I'm leading to. It's like Bob the character there, but then like the rest of the cast is good, and how like we pretty quickly get to where we're at. Where we're introduced to whatever her name is, the congresswoman that's a piece of shit.
Valentina. Yeah, which we've seen Valentina in multiple things.
Yeah, we have.
She was in the streaming services, wasn't she?
She's in a couple of things.
Yeah, she was also in the end credit scene of Black Widow.
She's in Black Panther as well.
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther 2,
right.
Yeah. So we get her character. She's being investigated. She wants to get rid of a whole bunch of evidence, and Yelena, along with our other characters, are parts of that evidence that she wants to get rid of. So she has a plan to get them all in one spot.
Eliminate some assets.
Yeah, and then get rid of them all. And that's what brings our guys together in one of the, I think, in a pretty good fight scene with these characters is them fighting in this giant incinerator essentially.
Yep.
And some shit happens. Like we were told that there was an early death that was going to happen. I told you guys who it was. No one believed me. I was right.
The one that happens after 4 seconds of being on
right.
screen?
Yeah, exactly.
I love you said no one believes you. I absolutely
no one ever has faith in me. And
so I believed it 100%.
Why did you make that call though? Like what made you believe that was the one that
because she was in one part of the trailer, and then she's in none of the trailer after that.
Okay, fair.
And they're like, someone's gonna die. You're gonna be shocked. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's Taskmaster, right?
But that's where I have a few problems. Is like, you're gonna put these characters in this Resident Evil style trap, and then you're gonna give them the way out inside the room that they're in.
Oh, it's very cartoony, right?
Yeah, it's comic book.
Yeah, well, she didn't think they were gonna. Well, again, I think that the
Bob
biggest
woke up.
Bob wasn't even supposed to be alive. You know what I mean? Like,
Hey, I want you to understand that incinerator wouldn't have killed him anyway.
yeah, you're right. But like
it wouldn't.
So it leads to my first problem, though. There's a lot of convenience in this film.
Sure.
But that's a very Marvel problem, though.
There's
isn't it?
tons of it, though.
But that's a very Marvel
no,
thing.
it's a very ensemble superhero cast.
Well, sure, okay, fine, fair
You know
enough.
what I
But
mean?
Marvel tends to fill that bill a lot these days.
Well,
DC does more than they do so far.
Well, sure.
I mean, Justice League and all of your Suicide Squad movies, they do it.
But again, though, like we didn't think they were all going to die in the incinerator, right? Like,
Well,
I
no,
mean,
they were
they had
never
to get
in
out
danger.
somehow.
They were
and
never
we-
really in danger. That's the thing.
So like we spent a lot of time with them trying to escape this place together, but the whole point of that was to build Bob up.
We spent about half the movie trying to get out of
I
it, by the way.
know,
We're
and
walking up the silo.
Yeah.
Good lord!
and all of this is them giving us time with Bob, which I think was a smart move because again, I like the fact that we give a shit about Bob before Bob became a bad guy, and then it makes it to where when they want to save Bob a little bit better because otherwise I
Yeah,
wouldn't have gave a shit.
Or Bob becomes Bob.
Yeah, Bob is just
That's part of the problem, though. Is like you spend a few minutes giving Yelena some Bob time, and like they have that connection. Even though she tells him when he's like, "I don't really know what I'm doing here, who I am, but can I trust you?" She's like, "Probably not. You can't." And I like it because Yelena's got such a colorful past anyway that she's done some bad shit too, but the Russian Red Room and being
it's the same problems that Scarlett Johansson's Black
Sure,
Widow
of
had.
course.
You know what I
But,
mean?
like that's the same thing. It's like, are they really the same character then? Like not like literally, but like, are they really taking her down the same path as like regret? Because Black Widow, as we know in some of the MCU films, like she struggled with what she did in her past.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, a very common thing when you lose somebody is to try to reconnect with them.
Okay, fair.
So
I
like
understand
so
that.
like that line of thinking for Yelena might actually make sense even on like a meta level when you think about it in that
Yep.
way.
I think the coolest thing in the movie was something they didn't do a lot with was the like if you touch someone you could see their like they green miled it, which was
Mhm.
wonderful. But like it built up this false premise in my head of like, okay, well now I think I know where the movie's going, and then it doesn't. Not that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
However, yes, that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen in the MCU is you have this guy who doesn't really know who he is, was able to see everyone's wickedness. And like that's awesome. And then we go where we went with it. That's part of my problem with this movie is like a lot of undeveloped awesome things.
Like what?
It could have been like that is like him being the ultimate decider of what he saw being good or bad.
Mhm.
And even though they kind of played off that way anyway because he chooses not to listen, and it's a thing that I think would have been a more interesting storyline. But I don't want to be that guy who's like, that's what I would have done. But it
Oh,
seemed like for a while that's how they were going.
You're gonna
So,
get more Bob in the future, and that's all that matters.
I assume, yeah, you said we will get more Bob.
We will.
Are we gonna get
I
more
mean,
Void?
they said at the end of the movie you'll get more Bob.
Well,
That's-
Avengers and Bob. will.
That's right.
Yeah. So I mean,
Hey, Bob's not an Avenger.
that'll probably be a way that they. So okay, let's talk about Captain Marvel for a second.
Okay,
The
who?
Captain Marvel. One of the biggest problems they had with her was how powerful she is, and they had no way to limit her.
Of course.
And
that's
so
the
so
problem.
now they had problems with writing her into films, right? Because like, how do you solve the Captain Marvel problem? Well, you need someone equal to her to cause her problems, which means that everyone else is just dead, right? You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
the kind of that thing.
She
Bob,
would just kill everybody.
Well,
Throw them
that's
through
the
a fucking
discussion
sun.
with Bob is like, I'm a god, they're not. I
Hold on.
win.
Bob has a limiting factor, the void. The more he fights, the more the void comes forward. So he has an actual like limiter built into his character to where they can use a little bit of Bob, but Bob's got to get out of there. Bob can't.
Bob
stay.
can't always
Well, we
be
saw the
centered.
visual representation of her realizing Bob was losing himself to the void, and she kind of that was again like part of this is a miss of especially Harbor being the dad characters. Like again, we never had the comment about after everything goes down, and he's like, and Bob's like, "Who am I?" And he's like, "Well, you're now my family." Like he lost a child, he's now found a child. Again, writers weren't smart enough to include that or see it.
I disagree with you violently about that, though.
Well,
you know what I mean?
disagree,
So-
but like that's what was being set up is the family aspect.
I know, but like this is just something that like it's like that isn't the like they didn't make a mistake, you know, like
It's just not the direction that they went.
it's not it's just yeah they didn't do that thing, and I don't think that was a wrong decision. You think it's a wrong decision, which is fine, but like it's not. It's like they didn't make that mistake. It's just not the route they went down.
Oh, sure. Okay,
You know what I mean?
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. And I know that we talked about it before, but another one of my huge issues with this movie is the conversation that Yelena has with
Mhm.
Red Guardian about she cannot get her head right and she drinks herself into oblivion and she
Mhm.
wants to kill herself.
Yeah.
And she lost a sister and she can't make heads or tails of it. And like he doesn't the conversation doesn't go down the line of father daughter. We both lost the same thing.
Hold on, it's not about her. It's not about him.
It's not a competition.
It's
You said that
about
before,
her.
but again,
But no, because it matters, right? Because like
Yeah.
you don't try to out trauma somebody
no,
else.
I'm not saying.
Well,
my-
no,
my
that's
trauma's-
the thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
all right, you lost your sister. Well, I lost my daughter. Well, so we both should be fucked up more. Like that doesn't make any sense to
No,
me.
but
Yeah.
part of the climbing out of that is him telling her, "I lost the same thing you did, but I'm finding ways to deal with it."
Well, here's the thing: you
Part of
don't
the
need.
health thing.
Yeah, but you don't need to explain your mental health to somebody else to help them, because what happens and helps you doesn't help him, doesn't help me, doesn't
sure,
help
and
that person.
look,
Well,
and I
that's
get it.
why it's not a trauma competition, because everything that someone can do to make you feel better might fall flat. And me telling you like you shouldn't feel so bad because I lost the same thing and I'm better, buddy. That is not how you get somebody to feel better about mental health.
Well, like,
But those are real things, and like that's not how mental health should be portrayed. Because, God, that's terrible mental health advice.
Okay,
well, I think the conversation works there between them, and the reason is because like when she is telling him all these things and unloading all this stuff all at once because they just lost that fight.
Yep.
Things are going sideways, and
They got
even
their ass kicked pretty bad.
and
too.
even and even in that point, when he comes and he's trying to be there to explain to her like all these things that that he sees that are positive about her, like she's struggling with that, but like eventually he gets through. And I think this, like, they do this thing where like either they did this on accident writing wise, or they set it up wonderfully and then didn't push it into your face. Like, he gets through to her at the end of the conversation. She said, she makes the Marvel-y joke, yeah, that was pretty good, kind of deal. But like, that was the moment he got through to her and
Mhm.
made her feel, oh, I'm not alone, and and he's right. Which then the next piece of this is she goes into the void to help Bob.
well, that's the willing sacrifice. That's the other very different thing that
Yeah,
they did in
it
this
was
movie.
right after her dad came
It
through
was
and
like
said,
20
"Hey,
minutes later, but yeah.
well, yeah, I don't know if it was 20,
It
dude.
was like 5.
Yeah, it was like
minutes
right,
later.
yeah,
Like they're fighting on the street. They say
right,
those
right, right,
people.
right,
yeah, it was like right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, but like it's like her dad gets through
You're
to
right.
her,
Yeah.
and it's like there for her, and then her next big decision after they save a whole bunch of people is, I'm gonna go save.
I gotta go help Bob.
Like I'm gonna get through to Bob, and she does.
Well, no, that again,
really cool.
I get it. It's just the writing tier is where it lacks because they never address certain things, and that's just you would have addressed it by now if you're going to, and like that for me is an issue because I want those loose ends. I want those conversations to happen all the
Yeah.
time. I want Yelena to talk about the fact that her sister fucking died for people and no one even knows about it outside the Avenger world, outside the people that are the government helping the event. Like no one knows about it. Like I can understand why someone like Yelena would go down that rabbit hole at that point, but like I don't think we do as characters with that, or sorry, as audience members, really have a grasp on what she's going through. That's my point. Is like
Well,
maybe
I
they've
mean,
not done a good enough job writing.
They gave Nat.
I don't think it hurts the
send off
movie
in Black
a
Widow.
lot. I don't think it's a
Yeah.
negative on the movie. I just think
yeah. Well, like I mean, just like on that note, like last thing for me is that in a meta way, we as an audience, we've gone through the loss as Yelena has.
Mhm.
Like we lost Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. Like we got to see her give that sacrifice moment. Like we did go through that. You know what I mean? So it's like, as an audience, like it almost feels cheap for me to be like, "Hey, remember when we killed Black Widow?" You know what I mean? And have a weird.
You guys
want
want to remember that again in this movie?
So it's like we kind of already went through all that. Like if Marvel fans are watching this Marvel movie, we got the good send off in Black Widow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got the good character moment
Well,
in Infinity War and all that. So like we got all that. So like I think that what they did here was they had it affecting a character who has to climb through something. And then as she's climbing out of it, she realizes she can help others climb through it as well. Because she was connecting with Bob early on. You know what I mean? With like as they were going
which
through
is
the
why
silo.
which is again why some of the writing to me went sideways because they didn't even sometimes I don't the writers that they have now obviously a far cry different than the writers they had 15 20 years ago for the same movie with the same MCU entries is even when Bob went bad the first time we didn't get the close up on her like Bob, you can trust me, you don't need to follow her. Like we never got that again. We just skip it. It's like I'm wondering what's going on now because we don't get the links that we need that they've given us in the beginning. It doesn't make any sense to me as someone who also looks at writing very critically.
Well, there's a reason why this movie's a 5 and not a 9. You know what I mean? I agree with you that like the middle's kind of mushy, but like in the end we get to exactly where what you're saying would have ended up anyway, right? Like Bob's okay. Spoiler: Bob's okay. Bob's on the team, and Bob's coming back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all those things are
Bob's
there
here for the future.
Yeah.
So it's like you know.
And I mean, one of the things is like why I said it was like Deadpool and Wolverine is because the last 40 minutes of that movie is an incredibly emotional ride for us, for Wolverine, for if you're in the movie, it's an emotional ride because you're in there because you like the MCU at that point. However, like I would argue this one is the same. It's like I thought the last, a lot of people might not agree with me, but I really enjoyed the last like 20 minutes of this when they're going through that minefield of when they're navigating through whatever the rooms that his mind has set up to chamber off certain things.
Yeah,
I really thought that was awesome.
So they go through their minds first.
Yeah. It's an interesting way for a Marvel movie to go, right? Because like it's not the action set piece like formulaic way for this end. It was one of the highlights I talked about with my wife was like I thought it was really cool to see them saving people.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time we really saw that? It was like showcased and
in a while.
2012.
Yeah. Well, like honestly, like we get to see a whole bunch of superheroes doing like a glimpse of superhero stuff for a second.
The first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Well, the second Avengers, Sokovia.
Yeah, so like
people off Sokovia.
they're throwing vans out of the way, they're catching falling rubble, they're using sheet metal as shields. Like that's fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like
superhero-y.
That's what you want to see out of superheroes. So like we get to see all that, but then like we go inside, they go through the funhouse of horrors kind of deal and end up with Bob. And like I thought it was a really cool thing to see Elena do the superhero stuff, like do the Black Widow stuff, where like she is running to Bob, she's using using her agility, she's flipping, she's diving, she's rolling, she's got the superhero action going on, but she wasn't fighting anybody.
Nope.
That to me was really really cool and interesting.
It was mature of them to do that.
We got to see her doing superhero, like being a superhero, and using her toolkit just to get from point A to point B, and like that was a different kind of fight. We haven't seen that. I really dug that. I was like, I was thinking in my head as I was watching, I was like she's doing the superhero thing, but like she's not fighting faceless enemy number 997. You know what I mean? Like we didn't get the faceless horde of enemies for our ensemble cast to fight against. You know what I mean? Which is such a common thing we get out of Marvel films. We got superheroes saving people. We got superheroes fighting with like more of like an ideal more than they are a faceless horde of bad guys. We got like a superhero story.
Yep,
that was really cool. That's what I liked about this movie.
A semi-meaningful superhero story.
The fact that they solved this big issue with a group hug, I'm cool with. I wasn't okay with it in Captain America. Makes no sense for the movie they built. You know what I mean? For them to talk down the red fucking Hulk. But in this movie, they set it up from the rip and followed through with it all the way through. And maybe it was good writing. Maybe it was a budget thing. I'm happy with where they took this thing. Though.
One continuous story beat all the way through a movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even with an ensemble cast, because that's not easy to do sometimes. Sometimes you get lost in the sauce of multiple people. They were able to draw this line through everybody, through Bob, to get to someplace.
Back to helping out Bob.
That was a kind of a cool thing to be experience.
I certainly agree with that
because I feel like we haven't had that in a long time from Marvel. We've had everything else. We've had all the bad stuff, all the bad version of it. Whereas like this writing isn't perfect. There's some fucking problems, like the fact that every female character in this is a victim of circumstance, including the villain. You know what I mean? And that's why they are who they are. Instead of and all the men are dicks, assholes, or dumb. You know, but like
Walker is a dick.
Walker,
he's also dumb.
He's legitimately in the right place writing wise, but like all the other characters are kind of the same note. You know what I mean? Including Bucky. Bucky's just the silent badass.
Well. Bucky is very Bucky in this movie.
He is, but like he's the tamest version of Bucky I've ever seen.
Well, because You don't really want Winter Soldier Bucky because then he kills everybody.
That's okay. I'd rather have that.
They're trying to have him less killy, more senatory, or congressman-y.
Imagine killing everybody,
Again,
Bucky.
Less killy, more senator wordsmith over there.
Yeah,
Yes.
but so I have a big problem with a lot of the writing in this film, but that they fucking nailed it, and I'm gonna give them props for that.
Yeah,
because,
I would agree. They nailed a lot of that stuff. It's just kind of in a
Yeah.
rudimentary way that I would have wanted more depth to.
Also-
Ironically, in a movie that has a ton of depth.
Also, I wasn't bored in this movie.
No, me neither. I did
Which is
notice
weird.
that. I did notice the movie didn't seem like 2
Yeah,
hours to me. It
I
seemed
wasn't
like,
bored. I had a good time, and like for it to be a slower paced Marvel film, that's
aside
surprising.
from the villain being a kind
The
of
villain's the worst
a
part of this
joke of
movie.
the movie. Like, and even like she's so much better than what we
Here's
got.
the thing: it's very comic book villainy, though.
It's comic book villainy, but it's also cartoony
Yeah,
villainy.
it's very
though.
cartoonish.
It's
I think.
hard to put my finger on it exactly, but like she's got Dan Arbor is their limo driver, and she's talking about all of her shit right there.
Right in front of
with-
him.
But here's the thing: you're not surprised by that. I mean, they
She's-
set that plot line up
Yes,
from the very beginning.
Yeah, but that's their fault for setting up that plot line.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Hold on. Would you rather have been a surprise?
I would have.
Here's the thing: it's worse if it's a surprise.
I would have rather they were talking in a secure location and not with
because that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
I will give you that.
You
but
know what
like,
I mean?
if suddenly like we hadn't seen him with his stupid limo service, and all of a sudden he's the limo driver, like that makes
Yeah.
that fucking shit way worse.
Well, yeah, it does, but like have him find out a different way then.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
No, that's
you
fair.
know, have him show up there for a different reason.
I mean, so overall, like it's an okay movie that has problems.
Yeah, I mean, like, would it have been a bad thing if the Red Guardian put a tracker on Yelena's shit and that's how he knew where she was?
sure.
You know,
Sure,
that'd have been
right?
fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead, the bad guy's so cartoony that she like talks about her evil plan with her weird fucking.
Also, where
secretary.
are they?
But why?
DC
But then why does why does her assistant know all this stuff? Like, come on, man.
That's what assistants do.
Yeah, they know things.
I don't think they know stuff like that. But
I mean, this one does.
the thing is, like,
Yeah.
them escaping from the place that they do, like it's like I like the henchmen of like, well, they can't shoot. They're stupid. They have no idea how to use their train to their advantage. Like the one guy puts the window down and sticks his gun out of the window to shoot them. Like, can I get some semblance of reality here? Give me
Yeah.
some idea these guys have any military training. It's like when the guy was like, okay, who do you want for your guard? She's like, I don't want the good ones. Give me the ones that didn't pass. That's who I want guarding me.
Yeah, but like
Joke on this joke.
at the
That's
same
thing.
time, like we just watch Warfare, so it's hard to be like,
Sure, I
it's
understand
hard to
that.
see bad gunplay and
Yeah.
like it be like legitimate gripes. It's just actiony movie superhero, gunplay, gripes. That's not the driving force and why I appreciate a movie. You know what I
I
mean?
like so.
In John Wick, I'll bitch about it.
Well, so some final thoughts on this is I like what they did. I
Maybe
like that
close
they
it
did
down
something
here.
different. I like that they used kind of. I like that I mean, look, you have Florence Pugh, David Harbour, you have Sebastian Stan. You have an excellent cast.
Yeah.
You have some of the most talented people in the Marvel stuff right now.
Yep.
And they used them. I mean, it's like the three of them. Harbour was a scene stealer. Florence Pugh's always a scene stealer because she's just amazing.
I mean, this is her movie.
Yeah,
Of
she
course,
should be.
but like she's, I hope, going to be the center of where we're moving forward.
She's the leader of the Thunderbolts.
But like
She's a leader
of the new Avengers.
Of the new Avengers.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
I wonder if again we don't know that because we're not. This is kind of state of Marvel, but we're not behind the curtain. But I wonder how much of that was a result of the reception of Captain America: Brave New World, or reception of other things, or whatever. Is like I wonder when that was decided. That would
Probably
be
a while.
interesting. I
Probably
don't
when
know.
Florence Pugh signed the fucking contract.
Well, she signed it back for Black. I mean, years
Yeah.
ago.
That was probably when she got that lined up
Yeah, it's possible.
because she's better than them, all of them,
Like,
as an actress.
God
well,
damn.
I mean, Harbour, dude.
Hey, am I wrong?
No, but lately Harbor's been knocking it out of the park. So I don't.
Yeah,
think she,
but I
think her
mean,
and Harbour are
she's the
pretty-
one that got nominated for an Oscar.
Well, sure, but that's
Well-
a weird thing to.
It's not.
I mean,
It's certainly not.
that's like saying
mean,
a movie's
listen,
better because it was nominated
hey,
for awards. Period. Like,
Anthony Mackie didn't get nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, but he's leading his own Avengers though.
Mhm.
So like, I think we're getting both of that. I think we're getting
Sure.
both of those things.
Well, maybe.
it's a weird thing, though. It's to me. That's why are we not unified into one? Why are we doing this fractured thing?
Buddy, that's how
Well-
the comic books work in this
Well,
case.
well, I mean, think about it. If you have them together, you can't share screen time with 11 fucking actors, big superheroes
They
that
did
you
it
want.
in Avengers for a long time.
No, they
Hey,
didn't.
they did it for 2 movies back to back. That's it.
And they
It
didn't-
wasn't 2 movies. It wasn't a movie a year like that.
Yeah, and they didn't. And they also didn't have 11 people at one time, like like sharing that screen space. I think Avengers Endgame gets there, but it's only for the fight. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like think about it. We had the original Avengers in Endgame, the entire movie. So it's like it'd be very hard to have that all together because of how are you going to get the screen time to work? It would be a hurdle. So now they have 2 lanes they can go down with cast A, cast B, and in a weird businessy way, they can see what works best and then kind of commit to one or the
Sure.
other. So and then start pulling people from one to the other that are like doing
As
better.
needed.
So there's a lot of different
Sure, and
things sprinkled in there. I
totally
think.
understand that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's good or bad.
It could happen. I could see that
Time
for
will
sure.
tell. I mean,
Yeah.
time will tell.
Yeah.
So.
I think that in the end, though, this is a decent movie. It's got problems, but it does new things, and it pulls together some characters I care about, and it makes me care about like where they're going to go with them, which I think is important because now I'm looking forward to the next. Where before
I was never looking.
I wasn't looking forward to the next
for years.
a
I have
while
not
there.
been excited
Treading
for a
in.
Marvel movie. It's just been like, okay, I'll go watch it. That's the movie of the week. So
Have to, yeah.
Yeah, Fantastic Four will be a very good barometer. On
see, I'm
where
not as
this
high
is
in that
going.
one as you guys are right now. I've really kind of flipped on that one. What are your final thoughts on Thunderbolts, Roger?
It's fine. That's all it needed to be.
I'm glad it's here.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I was going to be.
How do you think it's going to end up in the box office?
Here's the thing. I don't
Cap?
think it matters. It's going to be lower than Cap because it's already lower than Cap.
I think it
And-
does matter though, because this
I
movie
think-
was like a
No.
$250 million
Here's
investment.
the thing. They are committed to X amount of movies now, and it doesn't matter what this movie
I
makes.
think that I agree with Roger, and it's because of an earlier segment that we've done, and you should check it out on Friday when it comes out, is that there's such good movies coming out here soon that it gets swallowed up by those. No matter even if it was way better than Cap, it gets swallowed by.
Fantastic Four may also get swallowed up by some movies.
That's going to be a bigger event movie for Marvel fans than what Thunderbolts
Oh,
was.
sure.
So I think that it'll have better legs, and it comes later. You know what I mean? So while Thunderbolts will be forgotten, Fantastic Four will be a bigger movie, and it'll be a bigger deal. So, but yeah, I don't think it does better than Cap because it doesn't. It won't have as much time as Cap did. Still, overall,
Is this a head nod?
I already said what I said.
Yeah,
It's
good.
time to shut
All
it
right,
down.
so I think it's an okay movie, and that's all it needed to be. I think was okay, and that's important because as long as it doesn't suck, that's a win for Marvel.
it was okay for the right reasons.
Yeah.
I think that matters.
It was a superhero movie that felt like a superhero movie.
Superheroes, yeah.
Despite the problems it had, Bob was not one of them. Thank goodness, Liz Pullman.
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's nice being able to see your guys in here, your beards, which I can't grow. It's nice.
Yeah. Should work on that.
I've been trying.
Try harder.
Thank you. Try harder. It's like, okay, great. Thank you. All right, guys, we did another episode.
Yeah.
On One in the Can. That does it for us in episode 28 of Post Credits Podcast, a show where we are lucky enough to talk about movies with you. If you listen to this episode on an audio-only service, feel free to head over to YouTube and check us out there. Turn us on in the background while you do some work or while you make little paper-mache ducks and stick them around the office. I know you do that because everyone does it.
What the hell?
What the fuck?
I've done that before.
Why? Now, you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
Fair enough.
Not one
If you
bit.
do that, at least make sure to subscribe and like us. We appreciate your patronage as always.
Leave a comment about your ducks. Let us
Of
know.
how many you have
Let us
hidden
know
around.
if Grayson's right or wrong.
Duck-related comments, yeah.
Each new episode posted every Tuesday morning at 5 a.m. on the podcast service of your choice of the following 6: Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and a little bit later on YouTube. Please leave a comment or two, rate, subscribe. Every little bit helps. More importantly, thank you very much for listening. Join us next week.
Next week.
Next week.
Next week.
Yep. Yep.
Fuck, I was just out.